First one was basically regarding all about equities as an asset class, why you should invest and what are the do's and don'ts and nuances of that. Thinking beyond markets. Thinking beyond markets also इसका एक reason ये था कि when you are an equity investor, markets per se don't affect you that much in the longer run. Okay, if your time horizon is shorter, then you have to be very concerned with the markets. Basically, today's market, or let's say if the outlook is very bearish for the next 6 months, you might panic away and sell all your holding. But if your outlook is a little different, you are staying different from the curve, herd or whatever people are evaluating, you would not be very affected by frequent market downturns. So that is the whole point of doing this strategy. Doing this exercises. Companies go beyond directional market movements. So you could have a flat market for the next 3 years, wherein Nifty per se does not give any return, but companies दे सकती है. Negative side may be, positive side may be. So if a company can, if a certain sector is outperform, that company can continue to give positive return. So don't think of that fact कि मेरे को निफ्टी खराब लग रहा है या मेरे को broader indexes खराब लग रहा है. So that was the broad idea of that. Second day we did how to discuss business models. Business model per se is the first thing which attracts you. So if you don't feel like the business model is great in a company, I would not want to invest. Secondly, I should know the business model to understand it completely, like Bosch or an ITC or any other company, or small company, big company, Reliance Industries. Reliance Industries have traded a lot of times, but I never hold it. Why? Because it is very difficult for me to understand how Reliance Industries will operate. There are so many business verticals and there are so many different avenues from where revenues can come in, revenues can go down, profits could be up, could be down, margins, crack spreads. So go and try and read Reliance Industries. You also get a lot of broker reports, so for free. So if you go to a lot of research house websites, you will get a lot of research reports for free. So if you try reading that also, it will give you a fair bit of idea of not per se for the rating advice, means a buy or a sell, but they also give a lot of description on the company. So you can go to Edelweiss or Motilal and they have covered a lot of companies. So what their view is not our concern, but what they have told about the company will help you in understanding what that company is.
Can you review annual report and make your own mind and then compare that thing with their report?
Their report is not just on the annual report. Annual report per se, but it is a source of information. Okay, sometimes what happens is it will give you a lot of information. Most of the times, the actual total information required is not there, but it is one part of your whole complete view on something. You first idea is that how will I run across a company? It might be a tape. I might tell you some company. You might come across in the news. You might see it in a TV. कोई thematical approach आ रही होती है या पता गवर्नमेंट बोले कि इस सेक्टर पे फोकस करिए तो that way any way or some other you log on to a company, then your process starts. You do a lot of research on that. One could be from an annual report. You could find a couple of research reports where they've explained the company very nicely. You can you would be going back to the history and see how the management is, what the sector is all about, companies. So annual report is one source. They can give a lot of information. They cannot also give a lot of information. You don't need to depend on that. Out of that also you have to see that what that company is or that sector is. There might be industry reports on that. CRISIL does a lot of reports. So on every industry out there in India, there will be an industry report by CRISIL done. So you can just go and log in a website and you will get a lot of, then there is research bytes. There is a website with research, but just go and create a login ID. You will get con calls, annual reports, research reports, and everything from companies. So information material, what annual report is one part. Sometimes annual report will give you a lot of information. Sometimes it might not. So it is just a part in your total research work which you needs to be done to understand a company. Sometimes research reports can be very great because they explain a lot about the company. It might be that you might not understand the rationale. Just like Asian Paints. Asian Paints, if you touch on to any research report, not in the last couple of months, but you take a last 2 years, all research reports had a sell. Ambit has been continuously selling from the last when it was 620 or 630, but they have given good explanation of the company also. So it's not necessary for you to have the same which that analyst has, but you can get a lot of information from that report. What the company is all about. You can create a different view. We might have a different view. So that is a case. Individuality in your opinion, not following. That is why you're doing, because you're not following what everyone else is doing. So getting to today's session. So today what we'll do is see after understanding the business model, there is a way by which you can understand how to evaluate an industry. Means company sounds great, business model is great, but how is that industry sounds like? Basically, ITC. ITC is into tobacco and FMCG. So we discussed that day that tobacco is a mature industry. It will not grow at a very high pace, but it will grow according to the demographics of the country in which it is in. So if you have a population which is very much skewed towards younger age, means mid-teen age, tobacco consumption will not fall, because continuously that group of people who are coming into that age of smoking is going on increasing year on year. So it will grow at that rate. So you will not get 30% supernormal growth rate, 100% year on year growth rate in that. So suddenly people not. So FMCG is something which again goes by that logic. Daily consumption items, it will continue to. इसमें क्या हो सकता है कि कोई new company, if a new company is there, they might grow at a faster rate. The HUL will grow at a mature rate because they have penetrated all the markets in which they are in over the last 50-60 years. Nestle similar sort of, Colgate similar sort. But if a new company comes in, the pace of growth is faster. Why? Because you are a new entrant in the market. You start from a very low base. हाँ तो पतंजलि जैसे पेंट्स में है, पेंट्स में एशियन पेंट्स is a 54% market share. So obviously if a new company comes in which catches the fancy of the market, they will grow at a much faster rate because you are catching the existing market. This is a diagram like, see, there can be two kinds of markets first which we have to understand. See, this diagram explains about that markets can be in two scenarios. It can be a very, they have larger room to grow. Yes. So it can be a very big market, it can be a very small market. What we are trying to understand in this is, see, try to understand structure. In a very small market, the room to grow will be limited. In a very big market, the room to grow will be huge. Okay. So the first point is that I would generally prefer bigger market size companies. Sorry, bigger market size. The first thing which attracts is if you are a very small company in a very big market, because then you have that option to grow. It's not necessary that every company will grow, but at least you have that option to grow. Then whether will you be able to do it or not depends on the management. But at least मेरे पास ये option था, और अगर कोई market size है ही बहुत छोटा, उसमें क्या होता है कि a company has limited room to grow, so you can grow only to a limit. And generally what will happen is that you have to be very correct with your timing as to whether this company has realized the full potential or is some other new competitor coming in, or are they at the cusp of growth. You have to focus a lot on timing. It's not necessary that you will not get onto a good stock. You can have a 10 bagger or 5 bagger in such a sector also, but it is actually more difficult because it involves a lot of time. It's per se more easier to do the former part, finding companies which are very small in size and have a very large room to grow. So you have a market which is big in size plus ever growing. You also have to focus on one thing, is that the market should be growing. So the market is not stagnant, the market keeps on increasing in size. So you have two levers to yourself. One, the whole market is growing. Secondly, that company is very small, so it per se has a higher chance of growth. Higher chance of growth. Now, whether it does it or not will be something different. So that is something which is totally company specific, but at least it gives me an idea. This is more of top down. So what you do is that you don't start with companies, you start with sectors. You think of sectors as which are sectors which are huge in size. Banking, it is humongous in size.
So sir, how will you identify that this market मतलब बहुत बड़ा मतलब खत्म नहीं हो सकता, मतलब competition इसमें तो रहेगा
नहीं. आप देखो पढ़ के करोगे, जैसे कि you read more and more about other sectors, so you will know that financials firstly is the biggest sector in India, because you have to do financial inclusion. Every other trade, sorry, every transaction which happens, everything you buy or sell happens either through a financial market, sorry, not a financial market, through a financial entity. So that market size is great. And secondly, what will happen is that as income increases, financial inclusion will only. Secondly, you have to see that how does it pan out in developed economies. तो अगर कोई market कहीं पे बहुत बड़ा हुआ है, तो generally the thing is that in similar markets the similar thing should take place. And more you read about the sector, you will get to know that whether there is a potential to grow or not. Okay. So one thing could be that identifying, seeing, मतलब simple case नहीं है कि अभी अगर existing cases क्या है, financial is a very easy thing to see. So that is why you see all mutual funds, they are the highest focus on financials, banking, everyone wants to have one shot. Because even today, you see HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank is the biggest bank if you see in the private sector, not by terms of balance sheet size, but by terms of market cap. By terms of balance sheet size, ICICI Bank is the biggest. But still, they are only, I think, 1 or 2% of the market, total market. So the market says HDFC Bank has a balance sheet of I think, approximately 4 lakh crores. balance sheet is around about 4,96,000 crores. So 5 lakh crores balance sheet. But still, even after 5 lakh crores, they are very, very puny size of the market, whole market. So what happens is that, achha, why do we want companies which are very small size of the market? Because the potential to grow allows them to grow for a sustainable period. And stock prices, which we don't discuss about, stock prices are eventual. There is only one thing which moves stock prices. Sustainable stock price improvements is due to earnings. Okay. So earnings are the sole. So, hello, hello. Where was I?
Chance of going with small businesses.
Sustainable. So because stock prices are eventual slaves of earnings, and earnings growth, sustainable earnings growth will only happen if a company has room to grow in sales. So if you see HDFC Bank over the last 10 years, so see the income statement.
So the chance of the bank to have more market cap or more market share in India. Banks which are having the more market
Highest market share is the SBI.
but SBI is not good company for me.
तो वो company specific issue है. I told you we are not coming down to companies per se right now. That what is the problem? I was just
saying that अगर company का chances है grow होने का,
हाँ, तो उसके
market
पास
capture ज़्यादा करेगा.
नहीं, मार्केट उसके पास अपॉर्चुनिटी है बड़ा मार्केट साइज लेने की. अब उसके बाद वो कंपनी कर सकती है.
Market in what sense?
If a company, if there is a market size of the total revenue potential is 1,000, okay, and the revenue of the company is 1 crore, okay, so the size is 1,000 and the revenue is 1, so you have a potential to grow 1,000 times. Okay, so you know that the whole market potential is 1,000 plus this 1,000 is growing every year at a different rate. Now, if the total revenue potential of the market is 100 crores and a company does revenues of 60 crores, how much far can this company go? Of this 60, this one can go to 1,000 times. This is the paint industry example. The paint industry size is 45,000 crores. Okay, Berger does revenue of 3,500 crores. So 45,000 crores is itself growing at 10% every year. So 45,000 crores total revenue of all companies combined. Yes, total revenue of all companies combined.
Sir, मुझे ऐसा लगा इसका market share ज़्यादा होगा, उसी का मतलब revenue ज़्यादा होगा.
मैं आपको रेवेन्यू ज्यादा की नहीं बोल रहा, मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि अगर इस बड़े साइज में मेरे को अगर कोई ऐसी चीज है जो ग्रो करने का जिसका स्पेस ज्यादा होगा, तो आई वुड वांट अ कंपनी ऑफ दिस 45,000 crores में. एशियन पेंट्स इज 22,000 crores ऑफ द मार्केट. सॉरी, ये 45,000 crores टोटल है. ऑर्गेनाइज इसका हाफ है. ऑर्गेनाइज इसका हाफ है, मतलब 23-24,000 ऑर्गेनाइज है. उसका 50% एशियन पेंट्स है. सो दैट इज 12,000 crores रेवेन्यूज. अब ये 12,000 crore एशियन पेंट्स इज ऑलरेडी 50% ऑफ द मार्केट एंड बर्जर इज 3,000 crores ऑफ दैट 25,000 crores. It has a potential to go 8x. Berger can increase its revenues by 8x. Obviously, in an hypothetical scenario where it takes 100% of the market, but Asian Paints can only double from that because 12,000 crores already है. तो मैं ये बता रहा हूँ कि एक बड़े मार्केट में जो ऑलरेडी ग्रोइंग, अब या तो 12,000 crore का मार्केट स्टैग्नेंट है, यहाँ पे आपको क्या है कि टोटल मार्केट इज ऑल्सो ग्रोइंग, सो एवरी ईयर द रूम टू ग्रो इंक्रीजेस. Secondly, you are very small in that current market, so your room to grow is much more high. So that is why you thing is that you being a very small fish in a very big market. It's not that big companies won't grow, but the pace of growth will be lower because existing base is very high. And market size is total revenue base of that whole industry. Okay, so I will just discuss more such examples. Market size is one of the more existing के लिए HDFC bank is the most simple thing. So even today also it is easy to say that in the next 15-20 years also banking has much more room to grow. Financial services, credit, if you divide banking into like let's say housing finance, that is also a term of banking. It's an NBFC, but it comes under banking per se. Banks are also into that. Housing finance is 6% of the market right now. So 100% of the market is there, and you are just 6% of that is penetrated. So 6% of the people take loans to buy a house. So that is room to grow. Secondly, if you see any other market, banking with दूसरी services, जैसे कि personal credit. I ask you that how many of you take loan to buy a personal gold? जैसे कि अभी लोग mobile start हुआ. Last 3-4 years the trend has been that people now buy mobile on EMI. Earlier it was not there. Means cost of mobile was earlier also 30,000, 40,000, but that used to be bought on cash. Right now any price is possible. Why? Because you can convert it into EMIs. So that is a new market which is catching up, and you have 120 crore people. 120 crore people में okay, जो Total market is just 20-25% because rest is BPL. So, but 25% of India is huge, 30 crores, which is still more than US, Canada, any other country combined. So 30 crore people and 1 or 2% of them take personal credit. So any company which is there into providing personal credit loans, personal loans, okay, that could be for televisions, fridge, air conditioners, personal goods, home furnishing material, ये सब आ रहा है trend catch कर रहा है. This is how you catch on to a trend, a segment which is currently not present and it is catching fancy right now. So it is a new sector. बाहर आप देखोगे कि बाहर ये sector already developed है, but India में this trend is catching up right now. So this is how to identify new trends. Page industries, you would be focusing on the stock price. The stock went from 250 to 15,000 or 16,000. But you see the market size, means the innerwear market in India is huge, 20,000 crores. Secondly, of that, it was a very small share. So you have a potential to grow every year. Now what they did was unorganized to organized market. पहले क्या था कि unorganized पे था, अब क्या है कि लोग brand पे focus करते हैं. Now everyone would want to talk a brand. 6 years ago, Rupa, Lux, they were not focusing on that brand part. Right now, every innerwear company's focus is on just promoting their name and their brand. So that is what Jockey brought into the market. So new trend caught it. The whole unorganized market shifted to a brand player. So they had a run rate for 6, 7, 8 years of growing greatly, and because they grew very nicely, the stock price followed. So you have to catch this theme that where would there be a very big market and where would I get a company which has that potential to grow.
So a small company is beating the sector growth.
Small company,
Small company is beating the sector
now
growth.
this sector growth beat कराए नहीं, ये बाद में आते हैं अपने. Means the first idea is identifying small companies in big sector. Identifying small companies in big sector. Then how the company is, whether they are efficient or not, management कैसा है, करेंगे कि नहीं करेंगे, numbers कैसे हैं, वो बाद में आते हैं. But current idea is evaluating small companies in bigger sectors so that I get a good room to grow. Market size is one of the most important criteria. Why? Because of this, any company in the large industry has the potential to grow and sustain a rate of growth just because of the fact that you can keep growing revenue. HDFC आज की date में means you have the worst credit growth environment in the current market. Means the lowest rate of credit which is being given. No bank is able to grow its revenue, but HDFC or an IndusInd, they are showing 20% revenue growth in this market, where the sector growth is low. Earlier, HDFC Bank used to grow at 30%, but the whole market was growing at a much higher pace. Now the market has slowed down to its lowest in a year, but they're still growing at 20%. Why? Because financials are still underbanked. Credit cards is very small percentage of the markets. So new products are coming in, they are taking over unbanked people. Older वाले थोड़े और mature हो रहे तो वो नया markets में cater कर रहे हैं. Car loans, 2-wheeler, 4-wheelers, CVs. You have a huge amount of market run rate to grow. Banks ऐसे भी per se, you can go and read about the industry a lot. See, the last 10 years growth is 30%. The last 3 years growth is 20%. So 20% is in time when industries are not growing. ये 20% growth इसीलिए sustainable है क्यों? क्योंकि market में room है grow करने. You see the balance sheet size of small banks. And Allahabad Bank. And Allahabad Bank has a balance sheet of 2 lakh crores. तो HDFC 4 लाख करोड़ है, सोचो 5 लाख करोड़, और इलाहाबाद बैंक जैसा छोटा सा बैंक 2 लाख करोड़ का मार्केट कैप है. कैनरा बैंक 5 लाख करोड़. कैनरा बैंक मार्केट कैप is 4,000 crore, 10,000. बैलेंस शीट इज इक्वल टू HDFC. सो कैनरा बैंक जैसे 20-25 बैंक और है, एक एक का बैलेंस शीट साइज है 5-5 लाख करोड़ का. तो यू हैव huge amount of business to take. Huge amount of business to take.
20% ग्रो करा है. सेक्टर ग्रो नहीं कर रही, 20% वो जो ग्रो कर किसी कोई बैंक का
सेक्टर शेयर खा वो शेयर खा वो कोई और दूसरा जो कि इनएफिशिएंट है उस मार्केट में ले नहीं पा रहा, वो उसी सेक्टर का ग्रोथ खा उसका शेयर खा रहा है. Existing market थोड़ा सा ग्रो करना, but because you are very small pie of that very big pie, very small part, you can eat that share when the market is not growing, and when the market is growing, you will just explode. उस वजह से है, because financials in a country wherein you have 30-35% of the population which is earning decent income, तो providing financial services to them, जैसे कि अब जैसे स्टॉक आपने बजाज फाइनेंस सुना होगा, तो what are they doing, what are they providing? They are providing means we all take a phone on EMI. तो लैपटॉप्स, आजकल लैपटॉप्स में ट्रेंड आ गया, फिर धीरे धीरे करके और एक चीज में आएगा, देन दे विल गो टू पर्सनल लोन्स, क्रॉस सेलिंग, एसी, फ्रिज, एवरीथिंग इज स्मॉल. जैसे कि आई नो माय फ्रेंड वर्क्स इन अ कंपनी व्हिच does what is China से import करता है chimneys, kitchen chimneys and inbuilt microwave ovens and all everything, and they just brand it here and they sell it. They are a regional player, so he is an accountant. So he said that recently we have tied up with Bajaj Finance. They are present into Biribhum, Midnapur, and they sell 50-60 means they close 50-60 deals every day. मतलब मिदनापुर और ये सब जैसे बंगाल को तो ऐसे ही हम लोग मानते हैं कि लोएस्ट ग्रोथ रेट स्टेट है, वहां पर छोटे छोटे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में 15-15 हजार के लोग चिमनी खरीदते हैं. कैसे? इसके थ्रू, EMI के थ्रू. So obviously it is a risky proposition also in the longer run, but then you have to see that how the company is managing it, whatever. But the potential देखो grow करने का. You will be able to use products which you were not earlier able to afford. So that trend is catching up, and it will take huge time. Means over the next 20 years, this trend can continue because you are a very small percentage right now. So first step in catching companies is identify trends which can keep continuing for long time. वहां पर क्या होगा, अगर वो ट्रेंड कंटिन्यू करेगा लॉन्ग टाइम तक तो सेल्स ग्रो कंटिन्यू करेगी, और सेल्स ग्रो कंटिन्यू करेगी तो ईपीएस ग्रो करेगा, ईपीएस ग्रो करेगा, आपका स्टॉक प्राइस चलते ही रहेगा, वो तो एंड प्रोडक्ट है. How can I do this is, see, I need to compare 3-4 things. I need to compare industry penetration to another similar market. जैसे कि सबसे बड़ा penetration लोग दिखाते हैं कि इंडिया में only 2% of the people use X, whereas in the US X plus 20 times of the people use this thing. So one comparison is in comparing it with developed markets कि वहाँ पर कितना percentage use हो रहा है और यहाँ पर कितना कम होता है. Second is current organized or unorganized industry positioning. So how much is the organized market right now and how much is big is the unorganized market right now? Okay. So Page Industries is a classical example of an unorganized market shifting into organized. 10 years ago, it was difficult to think of innerwear not being sold on roads, and right now you are mostly shifting to brand, even the lower income people. Second thing is कि इसको हर सेक्टर के साथ देखना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि क्या अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड मार्केट धीरे करके छोटा होता रहता है. जैसे जैसे लोगों के एस्पिरेशंस बढ़ते हैं, इनकम बढ़ती है, तो वो क्या होता है कि वो लोग हर बार चाहते हैं कि ब्रांडेड गुड्स में जाए. दूसरा क्या है कि स्लोली व्हाट हैपेंस इज द मार्केट सिचुएशन चेंजेस. जैसे कि अब जीएसटी आएगा, क्या पता आ जाएगा या 3-4 साल, जब भी आएगा वो होता है. सो इट विल स्लोली शिफ्ट people shifting from unorganized to organized. So only those companies which are there in the organized net will continue to remain. So what will happen is that if any industry is there where most of the sales happen in the unorganized sector, there you have a very big example. जैसे कि furniture industry आज है, plywood industry. Plywood industry is a very big sized industry, 40,000 crores or something, and most of 80% of it is unorganized. मतलब छोटे छोटे डीलर है, एकदम रिटेल स्टेट लेवल पे. आप लोगों को ये मिलेगा तो ऐसा कोई वो नहीं है कि लिखना है, तो you will get the PDF of this. So any industry which has a very big unorganized share right now, they have a room to grow. Why? Because unorganized से organized shift होगा तो पूरा का पूरा unorganized market organized में जाएगा. तो वहां पर क्या मेरे को पता है कि अगले 8-10 साल के लिए कंटिन्यूअसली सेल्स ग्रोथ होने का चांसेस काफी अच्छा है, क्योंकि नॉर्मली एवरीथिंग शिफ्ट्स फ्रॉम अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड टू ऑर्गेनाइज्ड. Market potential क्या प्रोडक्ट के लिए, if a company has come out with a product which is a blockbuster thing, so you have to see that will this product catch the fancy of the market or not. Okay, will it come out to be as a very great product. जैसे कि Netflix है, मतलब if you see US international examples, so unique proposition which they brought out with Apple, brought out the iPhone, so market potential for the product तो है phone ही, but you sell it at 7 times the price and still it sells. Market potential for scalability in the business. You have to have a potential for scalability. अगर scalable नहीं है कोई business तो वो क्या होगा कि कोई, there are very frequent small spurts in a lot of businesses. किसी में 1 साल के लिए, किसी में 18 महीने के लिए, किसी में 6 महीने के लिए, किसी में 2 साल के लिए. तो क्या होता है कि वो एक टाइम पीरियड आता है, उसको आप अगर अपने बॉटम ऑफ साइकिल पे पकड़ लो तो वो 1 महीना हुआ, सॉरी 1 महीने नहीं 1 साल हुआ, 18 मंथ, उस टाइम पीरियड के लिए आपको काफी अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस देता है. एक ये चीज होती है. दूसरा क्या होता है, स्केलेबिलिटी मींस हाउ मच कैन यू इंक्रीज द साइज. ओके, size of the thing which you are selling. Okay, so is it scalable or not? If you are selling something which is not very scalable, so what will happen is that the potential for revenue increase is not there. But if you are selling something which is very standardized, has the potential to scale a lot, तो आप वो कर सकते हो. अगर आपको पता है कि नहीं ये पोटेंशियल मार्केट, जैसे कुछ इंडस्ट्रियल गुड्स है, मतलब जो इंडस्ट्रीज में यूज होते हैं, जिनका किसी का मार्केट साइज है 500 करोड़, और कंपनी रेवेन्यू करती है 60-70 करोड़ का, तो you know that in the maximum phase the company can grow 10 times only, plus the industry is also not growing, plus there will be competitors. So it might give you a very good trading opportunity if you catch it at the bottom of the cycle, but sustainable run rate revenue में कभी नहीं आएगा. तो इसमें कभी प्राइस इंक्रीज के टाइम में मत फंस जाना. Means generally what happens is that you will catch such companies when the price is already gone up a lot, and you falsely would be going it and thinking that the market size है, stock price अभी भी increase कर सकता है, but you have to firstly check that is there any potential for scalability in the business or not. If the market
प्रोडक्ट ओरिएंटेड कंपनी जो मैन्युफैक्चर प्रोडक्ट कंज्यूमर गुड हो गया और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक गुड, तो एक एनुअल रिपोर्ट में जो पढ़ते हैं उसमें वी गेट द आइडिया कि व्हाट न्यू प्रोडक्ट्स आर देयर इन लॉन्चिंग.
yes, they give a lot of techniques.
बहुत मूव है लॉन्चिंग में हम लोग को
देखिए not necessary that you will always get ये अगर क्या है कि अगर कोई कंपनी कुछ नया कर रही है, जैसे कि you are coming with something new, you will get into interviews. जैसे मैंने आपको बोला ना कि you go to Google and then you news type any company and then you get to news. जैसे कि there is a company which I follow, Tata Chemicals. So what they are doing is that जितना मैंने इसको पढ़ा है मेरे को लगता है कि see they are doing what is they are trying to earlier Tata Chemicals, how many of you know that Tata Salt, every one of you uses in your house. Tata Salt is a product of Tata Chemicals only. Okay, Tata Chemicals is a listed company. Okay, so mostly what we believe is that it is a Tata Chemicals नाम से वो आता है कि कुछ chemical sector में है, which is not very interesting or whatever. If you go and see the products of the company, then you will get to know that how they are trying to change the potential of the company. Okay, means product profile of the company. So once the product profile changes, then you have to see that what product are they launching. The product which they are launching, do they have a potential in that product or not? So अभी तक का जो मेरा काम है ये देखना कि बड़ा सेक्टर, बड़ा मार्केट है कि नहीं है, एंड कंपनी छोटी है कि नहीं. If on the per se size, if I see the company does revenue of 20,000 crores right now, 15 to 16,000 crores, but the revenue from this new sector is very very low right now. Now we have to see that what is the size. जैसे कि pulses आपके हिसाब से कितना लाख करोड़ का मार्केट है इंडिया में? Pulses is 1,50,000 crores size market, and they sell less than 500 crores. Pulses unorganized. जैसे आटा था, आटा I think 10 years ago you used to remember that it was only through चक्की. सब जाते थे वो ऐसे करके लेते थे. Who would imagine that आटा में branding हो जाएगी? ITC और बहुत सारे brands आ गए आज के डेट में. तो you see that unorganized market in आटा, which was difficult to imagine it has come into this. So it will happen eventually. How much time it takes is something which will be done in the future. You cannot predict how much time it will take. But mostly when branded goods come, you generally shift to that because they will be focusing, they will be selling it by selling it. I have quality X, Y, Z. किसी ना किसी तरीके से वो लोग उसका advertisement वैसे ही करते हैं. तो वो आप people generally you catch it. So you have to see that when then now what is the scalability? The market opportunity is huge. There is a potential to grow and increase revenues. Companies with the potential to scale the business over a wider horizon is an important criteria. As an economy develops, the share of organized manufacturing increases and competition beats out unorganized players. Generally, companies operating in a small market will have a cap on the size to which they can grow, and hence after a certain threshold they start stagnating. Thus, bigger the market potential, bigger the opportunity. So we'll discuss few companies which I think are potential cases for that. It does not mean that we are discussing, means I am advocating buying these companies or not. It's just as a potential case study by which I am trying to explain you that one. So there are few ways to do this. One could be an existing market, जैसे banking existing, पता है मेरे को कि है बड़ा market. कुछ भी हो अगले 5 साल 10 साल 12 साल तक banking चलेगा, अच्छा market. Now that is an example of an existing market. How do I identify potential new market ideas? Okay, this is one example of where I was trying to show you that one old company bringing out, changing its image and bringing out a new product, wherein I feel that your current market value is given on based on what you have done till now, but the future market value will be given based on what you are trying to do in the future. So I need to know that what is that company trying to do in the future. So Tata Chemicals, if you go and see, they are entering into pulses. They are actually into pulses for the last 3-4 years. They are coming into masala, spices. So small pocket के अंदर जा जाके दूसरे kind states में, some states में they have already ventured, some states they have not yet started. They are already into salt. So company wise, if you see that what products they are launching, now you have to go and see that ये products का market size है कि नहीं. If you go and study pulses, how they are sold, अभी तक क्या structure है. So the size of the market is more than 1,50,000 crore. Totally unorganized, pura ka pura through the kirana shops they are being sold, and they get a good margin. So that is why that is being sold from that segment. So when I see that जितना organized retailing capture कर रहा है market को, उतना इनके लिए easy हो जाएगा, because organized retailing में you will go more for branded products. So that is one potential to. Now I have to see that are you a very small part of the whole pie. So the total market size being 1,50,000 crores. You are a 500 crore revenue company. So profits ठीक है, वो डिपेंड करेगा कि कंपनी क्या करती है क्या नहीं करती है, बट 500 crore revenue company and 1,50,000 crore market size which is growing every year tells you that I have a company which has the potential to grow their revenues. How do I capture companies? So you have to see that what are the future plans. Now I need to see that how are they trying to scale it up further. Okay, it's not necessary that every company will be able to do it. So what are they doing? Are they generally entrenched? So they are the biggest player in salt. 65-70% market share in salt, the household name. अब salt से क्या है कि मैंने कहा FMCG में distribution network is required very heavily. So through salt they have a very wide distribution network which is present into every local corner of India. So that existing distribution network can be used to scale the business up. अब अगर और कोई कंपनी यही सेम काम करती है, उसके लिए इस चीज को ग्रो करना, टाटा केमिकल्स के लिए इस चीज को ग्रो करना में काफी डिफरेंस रहेगा, बिकॉज दे हैव द एक्जिस्टिंग इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर टू ग्रो दिस. The other company which does not have the existing infrastructure, they might take a longer time, but they have an existing infrastructure, so they are playing to some part of their strength. So the business model seems decent. They are into consumer products. Consumer products as a potential only they will keep selling. It's not necessary. मतलब कोई fast growth नहीं होगी. ऐसा नहीं है कि दाल की growth हर साल 50%. But the thing is that you are an organized player in a huge unorganized market. So your scalability will be great every year. फिर अंदर जाके और देखना पड़ेगा कि कंपनी क्या स्केल यूज कर रही है. सो जस्ट गो टू गूगल एंड गो टू न्यूज. सो सी यू विल गेट, मतलब ये तो स्टॉक प्राइस वाले जो आते हैं वो अलग है. तो अपार्ट फ्रॉम ऑल दो स्टॉक प्राइस थिंग्स, व्हाटएवर रिजल्ट्स यू गेट, they will be containing interviews, how they are trying to change the face of the company, what are they trying to bring into, new products are coming in, what is the management to create new brands for food portfolio. So what are they talking about, how are they trying, what is the management commentary, what is the strategy behind it, तो सबको पता चलेगा कि किस तरीके से grow करेंगे. Okay, are they going very aggressive, are they growing slow, will they be taking on a lot of debt or not, whatever जो भी चीज है. तो maker of branded salts will create a new umbrella brand as it looks to triple revenues to 5,000 crore in 5 years. 3 साल मतलब in 5 years they want to triple their revenues. So it is easy for them to do it. Why? Because it is a sector where there is potential to do it. Now if they say that I will do it go up 50 times in 5 years, you know that that is not possible. Indian consumer believes blah blah blah, थोड़ा सा बकवास है. कौन मैनेजमेंट चेंज हो रहा है, कंज्यूमर कंपनी से कोई आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है, वैसे है एग्जिस्टिंग कंपनी क्या चीज के अंदर थी, कितना रेवेन्यू उसके अंदर से आएगा, प्रॉफिट क्या होंगे. सो if you go deep into Tata Chemicals, you will understand that how they are trying to do it. So what they are doing is actually also they own a company called Rallis India. Rallis India is an indirect subsidiary of Tata Chemicals. Rallis India is into agrochemicals and seeds. They have another subsidiary under Rallis India which is known as Meta Helix, which is making hybrid seeds. So what they have done is that they have directly linked with the farmer, and what they will do is the company will provide seeds to the farmers for pulses, and they will say that you grow pulses and whatever you grow I will buy from you. So जैसे ITC में e-चौपा लेना, वैसे ही what they have done is that you grow pulses, I will buy from you at the MSP. So farmer has a ready customer for their produce. हाँ तो वो है, तो TCL is involved, they will buy the product. Rallis is providing the seeds, so they know, TCL knows that you have a ready supplier, हमेशा ready रहेगा और वो continuous supply रहेगी. तो you they are see how they are linking that chain. So few more things you have to see and inside it, then you will get to know that how they are linking it. वो linking से उसको improvement मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा, potential है कि नहीं है. तो इस तरीके से आपको और details करनी पड़ेगी. But overall just to understand the market share and everything, this much is enough. अभी तक जितना आपने किया उसके लिए this much is good. इस तरीके से और कंपनी स्पॉन्सर करें. तो दिस इज द एग्जांपल ऑफ अ कंपनी व्हिच इज an existing company into a different sector trying to change its image and go to a new sector. So today's market cap is based on what Tata Chemicals has done till now. Tomorrow's market cap will be based on what they will do in the next 5 years. So if they in the next 5 years, if I go and see the revenues of Tata Chemicals. So by now what they have done is their income growth has not been great over the last 10 years. They have grown their income by 4 times. Last 10 years में 4 and 4 times, and if I see last 9 years, it's not even means 4, around about 3.5 times. So stagnant growing business, profits have not gone that much also, 1000 crores to 2200 crores. So doubled in 10 years. So stagnant company hai. Chemical business might be not be very high growing. So you need to also see that what is the existing business, what is the growth rate. Huh? Margin, how can we know which company will do better, ITC or TCM, or getting their material from farmers? No, it will, for both it will be different, because ITC is doing it for a different business altogether and Tata Chemical will do it for a different business altogether. You just need, I just told you the example of Rallis because that thing will help Tata Chemical in realizing a ready supply. Because it is difficult to source pulses. When you will dig deep into Tata Chemicals, sorry, not Tata Chemicals, but pulses. Pulses, there are a lot of restrictions into how you can buy, how you can sell. Secondly, if the prices of pulses go a lot up, which they have been growing up in the last 1.5 years. So what will the problem will be that farmers might not sell to you, they might hold it or whatever might be the problem. But because you have a direct linkage, you know that you will always have a low cost supply of that product in front of you.
Providing the seed, so
they have to sell it to them. So because they have that contract with them. ITC does it for a different entire reason altogether. ITC has hundreds of products in their portfolio. So it's not just wheat. Here there is only a single product, which is pulses. There it is wheat, rice, etc., etc., etc. Biscuits ke liye they use something else. Juices ke liye they use fruits. So that is totally different. I just need to see it in context, whether it is helping Tata Chemical or not. So this is one example of changing its image. Second example could be company entering into something very different. Means it could be an existing company in a product which is getting some tailwind. Tailwind means you are getting a thrust due to some external reason. So existing product में है लेकिन एक thrust मिल रहा है आपको कोई external reason से. So there is a scheme from government known as Pradhan Mantri Jan Sinchai Yojana. Okay, under which they will just spend 5,000 crores every year on irrigation equipment and irrigation to improve irrigation across the country. Why? Because last 2-3 years there have been droughts, and because that is why farmer economy is under a problem, and because you need farmers, because you need votes, so you need to do something for them, and that is what the government is doing, that they are providing revenues so that they can create that irrigation infrastructure. Okay, so companies which are there into that market, irrigation market right now, will have a ready market over the next 5 years because government will provide the money. So farmer के पास पैसा हो ना हो, लेकिन government उसको subsidy दे रही है, पैसा दे रही है जिससे कि आप खरीद लो. तो government is financing that. Obviously there is a difference in this. This is not a ready market. This is a government created market. Okay, this is a artificially created market. So it will be a difficult market. इसमें क्या होगा कि इसमें the sustainability will not be that great. So you need to take this with a pinch of salt, but there will be a tailwind. You need to secondly see that what will be the duration of this tailwind. If the duration is 4 years, I would be skeptical to go beyond 2.5 years, because if the total duration is 4 years, I should initiate this position for 2.5 years or max 3 years. Okay, 2-3 years. मतलब देखना पड़ेगा अगर tailwind 10 साल का है तो मैं 6-7 साल रख सकता हूँ. अगर tailwind 1 ही साल का है तो करना ही नहीं है. अगर tailwind 5 साल का है तो इसने बोला कि मैं 5 साल तक 10,000 करोड़ रुपया करके डालूंगा हर साल. तो 50,000 करोड़ का टोटल पोटेंशियल है. तो irrigation companies are into irrigation pumps etc. So they will have a tailwind thrust for that. So you need to see companies which are smaller into that sector. So one very big name comes for us is Jain Irrigation. Everyone knows it is into irrigation equipment. But the thing is that they are debt वगैरह तो ठीक है, company specific issue है. They already are a big company. So I like companies. Why I like small companies is because there is room to grow. Means no other reason कि means there is a small cap preference or what, but because there is a room to grow, and I take that risk. So there is a company, very small company, is APC Industries. So they do yearly revenues of 190 crores. This was last year. This is TTM. So last 2015 revenues were 170 crores. So you see the top line of the company. last 3 years it has been stagnant because government has not been providing money. There has been droughts. Farmers के पास पैसे नहीं है लगाने के equipment, तो वो revenue grow नहीं कर रहा है. बट मार्केट का साइज क्या वो बोल रहे हैं कि हर साल में 5,000 करोड़ ग्रो और आपका टोटल रेवेन्यू है 150 करोड़ रुपए. तो आपको पता है कि हर पोटेंशियल जाने का बहुत ह्यूज है. अगर जाता है तो ठीक है, नहीं जाता तो obviously there is a problem with that. But if you see they have grown revenue from 34, this was 17, they fell in 17, 17 से 13, 13 से again 43, 62, so very erratic. Okay, margins are poor and pathetic. It was minus, then it went to plus, went to 9, then again gone down to 4, 2, again going to 5. This is history. So if I see the history is very malign. Means the history is very erratic, up and down. It is difficult to establish a trend. What I'm trying to see here is that is there any future potential for the company or not? Okay, it could be, it could not be. Again, I'm telling this very strictly. These are all examples. Okay, there is in no way it is connected to you thinking that of as a advice on a company to go. And I'm just trying to show practical case studies wherein you can. Best idea would be you checking on to different newer ideas through such examples. So this is a government infused tailwind कि मैं 5,000 करोड़ हर साल डालूंगा इरिगेशन इक्विपमेंट में और आपका रेवेन्यू है 150 करोड़. तो पहला तो सबसे बड़ा रिस्क क्या है कि क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट का दूर रहो. इफ यू कैनॉट हैंडल दैट रिस्क स्टे अवे बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट इज आज है कल नहीं हो मेरे को भरोसा नहीं. फिर भी अगर है आपको लग रहा है कि नहीं 4-5 years तक है और आपको थोड़ा सा सब्जेक्टिविटी उसमें आता है कि नहीं opportunity is very lucrative and it could be a potential trade for 18 months, 24 months. So why not take hold of it? So then you need to see the duration of that. Duration of this is here is 5 years. And now funds have started flowing in. Then you need to read those government के documents, notice, circular कि कितना पैसा आ रहा है, सर पैसा सर्कुलेट हुआ है कि जैसे सर्कुलेट होना लास्ट क्वार्टर से चालू हुआ पैसा और इनका लास्ट क्वार्टर का रिजल्ट इस दिसंबर क्वार्टर का रिजल्ट बहुत अच्छा था. सितंबर अक्टूबर नवंबर दिसंबर क्वार्टर रिजल्ट वाज वेरी गुड.
गवर्नमेंट का जो पॉलिसी होता है हाउ डू वी ट्रैक दैट?
गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज कम आउट इन बजट. ये लास्ट में बजट में इन्होंने बोला था कि प्रधानमंत्री जन सिंचाई योजना डालेंगे, नहीं तो बीच में अगर आके कुछ बोल दिया कल को फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर की मैं इस सेक्टर में इतना रुपया डालूंगा तो वो आपका आ गया वहां से.
सो हम लोग के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट क्या होता है इसमें? सब कुछ तो देखना है तो हम लोग के
सब कुछ इम्पोर्टेंट है. एक तो जो समझ में आएगा वो ऑलरेडी हो गया. दूसरा किस सेक्टर के लिए क्या बोलते हैं, जैसे कि ये है you don't need to, you are not traders, you will not sit करके भाई वहाँ बैठा और मैं देख के ट्रेडिंग करूँ. you will just get the document later, you will read through all of it. इसने इस सेक्टर में ये दे रहा है, इस सेक्टर को ये दे रहा है, इस सेक्टर को ये. So you will get sectoral reports also a lot. Okay, even if not that, if you read the budget document or if you see that on the TV and just keep making notes yourself कि ये कर रहा है, ये जैसे इसने ये लास्ट ईयर ही बोला था. So this is a potential, this could have been a potential position from the last year onwards. Okay, but the money if you start reading the documents कैसे है कि वो process formalize हुआ, policy आई, 6 महीना तो लगेगा मिनिस्ट्री सेटअप होने में, ये सब करने में तो 1 साल लग जाता है वो चालू होने में. तो लास्ट क्वार्टर से पैसा आना चालू हुआ है. जैसे लास्ट क्वार्टर से पैसा आना चालू हुआ आपने देखा कि इस क्वार्टर का रिजल्ट आपको एक्सपेक्टेड होगा कि अच्छा आएगा, which was good. December 14 was 38 crores, so this time it was 52 crores, so more than 30% growth in revenues after a long time. So you know that money started flowing in. अब ये चीज कंटिन्यू होती है इसमें कि आपको ट्रैक रखना पड़ेगा फिर हर क्वार्टर ऑन क्वार्टर स्टोरी कैसे प्ले आउट करिए. नॉट एवरी डे but every quarter you need to see and not create rash decisions based on one quarter because it's a story for the next 3 years, 3-4 years. You need to see that how it is playing out, how much money is flowing in. अब क्या बीच में अगर ये हो गया कि गवर्नमेंट के पैसे खत्म हो गए, आप देख रहे हो डेफिसिट बढ़ रहा है, ये हो रहा है, तो ये अज्यूम करके रखना कि डेफिसिट वगैरह बढ़ती है ये सब सेक्टर सबसे पहले तो होता है क्योंकि वो फंडिंग यहाँ दबा लेगा. सोलर में यही है, सोलर में हमेशा उतना वो लोग दे टॉक अबाउट इट कि सोलर में ये करेंगे वो करेंगे, बट बिकॉज द फंडिंग विदाउट गवर्नमेंट फंडिंग इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल टू स्केल अप दैट सेक्टर. एंड आवर गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट अ कैश सरप्लस गवर्नमेंट, इट इज अ कैश स्ट्रैप्ड गवर्नमेंट. तो फंडिंग नहीं आएगी तो वो नहीं कर सकेगा. और ये मान के चलो कि कोई भी चीज में फंडिंग दे रहा है तो उसको पिंच ऑफ सॉल्ट लेके चलो. स्टिल इफ यू आर गोइंग फॉर इट यू हैव टू सी द पिटफॉल्स. तो क्या रिस्क है, क्या नेगेटिव है उसके, कितना पोटेंशियल है ग्रो करने का, कंपनी कैसी है. अगर कंपनी बहुत अच्छी है तो ये हो सकता है कि द डाउनसाइड माइट नॉट बी दैट ग्रेट बट द अपसाइड पोटेंशियल इज ग्रेट. सो इफ द अपसाइड पोटेंशियल इज 10x, downside potential is 50% from that. I would take it as yes, it's a good risk reward ratio. If I go right, I have a 10x opportunity or a 5x opportunity. If I go wrong, 50% of this will be eroded from that. So you need to, before taking or initiating that position, you have to see what is the risk reward ratio.
Yeah.
But
can we relate with this example? Doing production on the farm. Can we relate this growth to farm equipment sector also?
Yes, very nicely. So if the farm production is growing, farm equipment demand would be increasing. Now, which equipment are you actually seeing? ट्रैक्टर्स का पेनिट्रेशन अलग है, टेलर्स का पेनिट्रेशन अलग है, पंप्स का पेनिट्रेशन अलग है. फिर आप कौन सी कंपनी सिलेक्ट कर रहे हो? You jotting down a position and you getting a right trade depends on, there is a lot of that difference. So first stage में कि मेरे को ideas निकालने, उसके बाद whether they will be successful or not, that depends on. So if the farm production is increasing for the last, you see that last 4-5 months crops have been good, rainfall is increasing, etc. So you will see that equipment demand will increase, tractors would increase, tillers would increase. So those companies, but इसमें कितना time period के लिए है वो देखना पड़ेगा. तो इसीलिए थोड़ा सा लॉन्गर ड्यूरेशन में फोकस करोगे तो वो बेटर रहेगा. उससे क्या है कि थोड़े शॉर्ट टर्म पिटफॉल से आपको फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. अदरवाइज क्या होता है कि फिर वो क्या हो जाएगा कि फिर वो बहुत मार्केट लिंक्ड हो जाएगा. आई वांट यू टू फोकस ऑन थिंग्स व्हिच आर नॉट वेरी व्हिच आर वेरी मार्केट मींस detached. So if this is a story for the next 5 years, even if the markets are not performing very well, if this plays out nice, this could be a potential opportunity for the next 2.5 years. In that sense, there could be companies, in a sense, there could be very nice opportunities when a company which is not doing very well, okay, sector size is great, but you know that the potential of the sector is great, the company is not doing good, but suddenly because of change in management or whatever, due to any such reason, they start to take notice. So that gives a very good opportunity for them. That is also a very good example of that. Case in point being, there is a company known as Force Motors. So they are into that crappy vehicles which are used to transport us. So see, the revenues have grown, but see the profits. Minus, loss, operating level, loss. So revenues have grown from gone to 2,000 crores. So their market size is such that they are selling vehicles worth 2,000 crores and they are not making any money. So this is one more example. These are turnaround stories. Okay, so your market size is good. You are selling 2,500 crores worth of revenues every year, 3,000 crores. Current is 2,800 crores. So they have a potential of doing 10% EBITDA margin, but they were doing minus, negative 7, 4, 6, 3, 4. तो इस तरह की companies अगर management change हो रहा है या और कुछ है, see the case in point being the market is also huge. It's not a 50 crore revenue company. A 50 crore revenue company doing losses and profits, and a 3,000 crore company, there is a huge difference. So there is a scalability in that sector. They are into automobiles. Automobiles will grow. Means हर साल 1-2% से ग्रो करता है, तो वो इंडस्ट्री 2% से ग्रो करती है, कंपनीज के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है, आर दे इनटू अ न्यू प्रोडक्ट और समथिंग ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट. सो दे आर इनटू एम्बुलेंसेस, दैट ह्यूज व्हीकल्स व्हिच नो वन मेक्स. सो द एक्चुअल नंबर में देखोगे तो उसकी एक गाड़ी में 25-26 लोग बैठते हैं. तो देयर इज नो कंपैरिजन ऑफ दैट vehicle. No one else makes that kind of a product. So management change, but we are not talking about that per se right now, management change. But here is yes, this is not a change in management. This is a change in management's view, outlook. Outlook में उनका nature बदल गया. मतलब अब उनको समझ में आया कि बिजनेस में पोटेंशियल है. अभी तक बैक डोर से खा रहे थे, अब फ्रंट डोर से कर रहे हैं. तो because front door is reflected in the stock price, so you have an opportunity as well. Because back door is not represented through the stock price, you don't have that opportunity. This is one example of that case being. One could be this. I'll give you a couple of more examples of companies which I have done. And again, I'll tell you that this is. Don't take these as stock recommendations. Don't go and buy the stocks. Because there is very heavy potential for losses if that happens. So Gulf Petroleums is into oil marketing and distribution. So they are into lubricants. Okay, automobile lubricants. Automobile lubricants, if I just hear automobile lubricants, I will go and see what Castrol does. So because Castrol is the leader. Castrol is a 21,000 crore company. It does yearly revenues of 3,500 crores. Okay. So Castrol is the leader. Leader is 3,500 crores. Second person is major market is done by Servo and Max, जो BP और HP के हैं brands है. IOC और BP के. HP का तो brand अभी तक इतना famous नहीं है. So that they are 50-60% of the market. So because they are 60% of the market, 50% of the market, and Castrol is 3,500 crores, so Castrol should be around about 40% of the market. So total market size is around about 12,000 crores, 12 to 13,000 crores of this lubricant market. Now, GP Petro was erstwhile Saha Petro. If someone has been into the markets and heard this, Saha Petro बोल के company हुआ करती थी. This is they got acquired by a Dubai-based company and whatever. So they are doing revenues of 359 crores, and they are also into this lubricant market only. So the total market size is 12,000 crores, which is growing every year at a very small pace, decent pace, but it is still growing. And you are 350 crores of that market. So you are also into lubricant market. Size is huge. The company just got changed, promoters changed. They have an outlook on the market. They want to grow. They have tied up with Repsol. If someone would have heard Repsol. Repsol सुनो MotoGP कोई दिखता है? हाँ तो MotoGP जो देखता है उसको Repsol पता होगा. Okay. So they know Repsol. Repsol is the biggest Spanish brand. It's a Spanish brand and it's one of the biggest in the whole world. So Repsol is as big a brand as Castrol and into those activities. So if I think per se that if Castrol can grow to 50% of the market, and if such a big brand comes into India and they are just doing 350 crores right now and the total size is 12,000 crores. So you are just 3% of the market. So there is a potential to grow 30 times from here. So that is also one trigger. So this is how you try to identify secular trends. इसी से क्या है कि इससे आपको ये पता चलेगा कि नेक्स्ट 5 या 6 इयर्स में रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ पोटेंशियल है कि नहीं है. केस एग्जांपल हम लोग रॉयल एनफील्ड का बात करते हैं. ओके, it asks you that day that how many bikes do we sell every year? We sell more than 1 crore bikes every year. Okay, let 70% of that market is 100cc bikes. So okay, we are not getting to that market. Eicher used to sell 3-4 years back 100,000 bikes, that too at max in a single year, not even 100,000 bikes. So if I take the total market, you are means 100,000 is of 1 crore, 1% of the market. So you are 1% of the market. Total market is 1 lakh, 1 crore. तो आपके पास 100 times size grow करने का. They are today selling 4 lakh bikes every year. So you are today 4% of the market.
So basically, the economy will depend because the purchasing power of people are so high. Eicher Motor is costly that
very costly,
very costly. Everyone can't buy that.
मैं नहीं बोल रहा आपको वो बात. I'm just trying to say that our economy is a growing economy. We have a very focused young population, so the demographics are focused on this part. Obviously, the growth will not be linear. The growth will be like this, means the growth will be upward sloping, but cyclically. Okay, so at what time are you catching? Okay, but the thing is that potential remains for them. They are a segment monopoly in which no other company is present. So there is scale for them again to grow the revenues from 4 lakhs to 8 lakh or 10 lakhs.
Seen on the monopoly because few buyers like Eicher Motor, they only go for the project. Not everyone. Suppose
मैं वही तो बोल रहा हूँ कि major market 70% is 100cc market. So they are not into commuter market. I'm just trying to say that as this whole market expands, some people might shift to 350cc from 100cc because 350cc will never shift to 100cc. But 100cc, as people, their income increases, so that 70% market will slowly shift to the other part. As income increases, that might happen over 10 years, that might happen over 20 years, that might happen over 5 years. But they will not down very less. Even if there is down trading, very less down trading will go from 350 to 100cc. Mostly will come from 100 to 150, 150 to 200, 200 to 300. So you have a thrust from both sides. अब क्या हो गया कि last 3-4 years the price growth has been very rapid. So we are not focusing on that. I'm just trying to show you that there is potential for them to still grow. Now is there stock price potential to grow? That I'm not talking about. I'm just saying that they have potential to grow their sales. Is there any stock price increase potential or not? That is completely out there. But दोनों तरफ से grow कर सकते हैं क्योंकि वो 100cc का market 70% है. अब अगर ये 350cc market 70% हो तो ग्रो करने का पोटेंशियल ज्यादा नहीं रहता, लेकिन वो 100cc धीरे धीरे शिफ्ट कर करके ऊपर आएगा. 100 से 125 होगा, 125 will go to 150, 150 will shift to 200, 250 or 350. People who earlier only used to have one bike, they will have 2 bikes leisurely. जैसे cars में है, earlier one car used to be a thing. So now in cities at least you see people having minimum 2 cars. धीरे धीरे करके वो सब शिफ्ट होंगे. तो these are just industry shifts which will happen. तो जिसमें इंडस्ट्री शिफ्ट का साइज बहुत बड़ा रहेगा वहां पर क्या रहेगा, पोटेंशियल बड़ा अपॉर्चुनिटी रहेगा. अब ये सब एग्जिस्टिंग है, This is nothing new and this is no tailwind. There is no tailwind in auto sector. ये है होते रहेगा, कंटिन्यू होते रहेगा. जैसे EPC इंडस्ट्री वाला जो चीज था इरिगेशन वाला, वो एक न्यू टेलविंड है बिकॉज गवर्नमेंट इज प्रोवाइडेड. ओके, ये जीपी पेट्रो वाला जो है, दिस इज अ टेलविंड. व्हाई? बिकॉज देयर इज अ न्यू कंपनी टेकिंग ओवर. So the new company taking over and a company which is very small in size can grow to be very big, can or cannot, but depends on management's potential. Okay, तो ये इधर tailwind है. ऑटो में कोई tailwind नहीं है, वो है होते ही रहेगा, ऐसा नहीं है. But I'm just trying to show you that see, people who think that the prices cannot go up further or sales cannot go up further, they should understand that there is potential for them to sales to grow even further. This is something. Sorry, हाँ, डिक्रीजिंग इंटरेस्ट रेट्स इज अ वेरी गुड एग्जांपल. बट ये सब क्या है, ये सारे के सारे होते रहेंगे. ऑटोमोबाइल्स, if you see Maruti sales of Maruti, there is volume growth every year. In a bad year they grow less, in a good year they grow great. But in a country like India, where the penetration is so low for a lot of things, these things will continue happening. तो वो होते रहेगा. Couple of more, जैसे कि microfinance industry के लिए मैं पढ़ रहा था. I'll just not give you the name of the company, but the thing is that this is a I was just reading last few days on the microfinance sector. So the total size of the microfinance sector is 60,000 crores. Okay, 60,000 crores means the kind of disbursements which they give out, means कितना रुपए का लोन दिया जाता है. 60,000 करोड़ का लोन दिया जाता है every year. Okay, जो इंडस्ट्री लीडर्स है, they talk of this, the yearly growth rate in revenues being 50%. Okay, so every year they are saying that there is a 50% year-on-year revenue growth rate, means the kind of loans which people are taking.
So basically, what kind of loans they provide?
They provide loans to individuals, very low farmers, small farmers or small entrepreneurs, 10,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees. self-help groups होते हैं, जैसे कि joint liability mechanism है, जैसे आप लोग 6 जन हो. Okay, all of you are small entrepreneurs, और किसी को दुकान डालनी है, किसी को छोटा मिल ट्रांसपोर्ट करने का बिजनेस करना है, किसी को एक छोटी साइकिल के लिए लोन चाहिए, 3,000 रुपए का लोन चाहिए, एक छोटा पान शॉप चार्ट करना है तो उसके लिए 2,000 रुपए का लोन चाहिए. तो ग्रुप्स दिए जाते हैं, जैसे कि 12-13 जन का ग्रुप है. तो दिस बिजनेस मॉडल वो स्टार्टेड बाय ग्रामीण बैंक इन बांग्लादेश. तो वो फीमेल्स को देते हैं, जनरली मेल्स को लोन नहीं देते. तो जैसे 12-15 फीमेल्स को एक ग्रुप बनाया, उनको उन्होंने अलग अलग चीज के लिए लोन दिया, किसी को 2,000, किसी को 5,000. क्या है कि देयर इज अ जॉइंट लायबिलिटी. Even if one of you default, okay, for the person who is giving the loan, all of them are defaulted. So the whole group will keep forcing you to pay your money back. Because if you default, in the means for the company which has given the loan, the whole defaulted. So others coerce that person to pay the money back. Okay, this is a very unsecured loan because क्या है कि asset नहीं है यहाँ पे. जैसे SR Steel है, SR Steel वाले को जिसने लोन दिया, उसने क्या किया, SR Steel ने बोला कि मेरी फैसिलिटी आपके लिए खड़ी है. तो वहां आपको अच्छा लगता है, क्यों? क्योंकि you know that you have a very big facility, so it is asset backed financing. Here there is no asset because that person has no asset. वहां पे आपको क्या लगता है कि एनपीए होगा तो दे लेंगे क्योंकि asset है, बेच देंगे. लेकिन अभी जब प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, you are not able to sell that asset. So this is also, both are risky lending. It is not, but you have to see that how you are doing that lending. So these are very small loans given in very small pockets, जहाँ पे लोगों को वो 50% वगैरह के ऊपर जमींदार लोग देते हैं. तो ये उस मार्केट को केटर कर रहा है. देयर इज ह्यूज मार्केट फॉर दैट. तो 70% इज रूरल. हाई रेट कैसे देगा? आपका अगर रिस्क हाई है, आप अगर सुनो, आप अगर ये मुकेश अंबानी को लोन दोगे और आप अगर मेरे को लोन दोगे तो इंटरेस्ट रेट में डिफरेंस आएगा, क्योंकि मेरा रिटेनिंग कैपेसिटी अंबानी की कैपेसिटी डिफरेंट है. वैसे आप अगर नीचे वो जो दुकान में, लेकिन मैं आपको एक्चुअली बताऊं, पता है इन लोग की लोन पेइंग कैपेसिटी इज मच मोर बेटर देन देम. Because you see the business, what business they are doing business which has ready market. ये जो small एकदम छोटे लेवल का entrepreneurs है, vegetable sellers, ये sellers, they are doing business which has very ready potential in market. So their capacity to pay back is actually very nice. By what we perceive it as risk. Now you have to see that what model are they using. But if I don't go in deep into companies, if I don't go deep into sector वगैरह, मैं खाली ये सेक्टर की बात करूँ तो अभी करंट साइज है 60,000 crore and they are talking about this growing at 50% rate every year. So next year it will be a 90,000 crores market. उसके next year it will be a 1,20,000 crores market. उसके next year it will be a 1,80,000 crores market. तो 3 साल में 2 लाख करोड़ का मार्केट हो जाएगा. अब कोई अगर कंपनी है जो सिर्फ 100 करोड़ रुपए की है, मींस 100 करोड़ का लोन्स देती है, तो 60,000 crores का सेक्टर साइज है and 100 crore you are a company. So there is a first thing is that the sector run rate is huge. सबसे फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है देखना कि सेक्टर में स्कोप है कि नहीं है, तो बहुत बड़ा सेक्टर है प्लस बहुत हाई रेट से ग्रो कर रहा है, सो देयर इज ह्यूज पोटेंशियल इन द सेक्टर, देयर इज ह्यूज पोटेंशियल इन द सेक्टरल ग्रोथ रेट आल्सो, मतलब सेक्टर बड़ा भी है और ग्रो भी काफी तेज कर रहा है। अब मेरे को देखना है कि कंपनीज कौन कौन सी है। I thought boiled down to companies. There are companies that are very, very small in size. Means that even if sector does not grow, they will have the potential to grow. So if a company does 10,000 crores of loans today, they will not grow at that pace at which that small company might grow. And because the 10,000 crores is already a 17-20% of the market. अगर कोई market में fall down आता है, तो that company will be much higher affected than the very small company because it is just a puny share of the total pie. तो दोनों तरफ से रन रेट है, एक सेक्टर का साइज बड़ा है, दूसरा वो ग्रो भी काफी फास्ट रेट से कर रहा है, तीसरा अगर आपको इसमें एक छोटी कंपनी भेजा जो कि बहुत अच्छी है, then you have one of the best potentials in the market for the next 5 years, 10 years or whatsoever. So this is a way to capture those 100x companies, 100x or 200 times or 300 times what companies give you return. This is one way of doing that by top-down analysis, and when you are searching for sectors. So you read across at random material. I did not know about this microfinance until I was just at random reading one annual report, in which it was very lucidly explained about the size of the sector, how they are growing, what are the factors, etc., etc. Essentially, when you read, you come across stuff as random. You don't have a very predefined material. If I'll tell you that ये 12 material पढ़ो आपको आपके आगे का सब चीज मिल जाएगा, तो वैसे है नहीं. So you keep reading across random annual reports, you keep reading across random things, you will get to one. जैसे कि when I was reading Apollo Hospital's annual report, so there are new internet companies which are coming, which are selling online medicines. Okay, so there is a very good trend in market, which is they are saying that we are selling online, so we just open franchises because we are selling at a discount. Everyone would want to take our franchisee. And now what we'll do is that once we have a lot of franchises, we will start selling our own branded products. तो जो मैं जैसे फ्लिपकार्ट जो करता है कि फ्लिपकार्ट बोलता है कि मैं एक बार अपना बहुत बड़ा नेटवर्क बना दूं, उसके बाद मैं अपने नाम के प्रोडक्ट्स बेचूंगा जिसमें मार्जिन बहुत ज्यादा होती है. तो ये सेम चीज मेडिसिन में है कि आप ऑनलाइन फ्रेंचाइजीज दो. फॉर एग्जांपल देयर इज अ कंपनी दिस नोन एज माइक्रोटेक, सो देयर इज देयर फ्रेंचाइजी नोन एज सस्ता सुंदर. So they talk about them creating an online database wherein what they'll do is that they will sell medicine at a discount. So because they will sell medicine, yeah, EJP already does. So because they will sell medicine at a discount, a lot of people will be ready to sell it, and the revenue will grow very fast. So a lot of people will open their franchises, and once they open a sufficient number of franchises, what they will start selling is that they will start selling Sasta Sundar branded uh, biscuits or atta or whatever, so that because there the margin is very high. Branded medicine margin बहुत कम है, बट इसके अंदर मार्जिन बहुत हाई है. तो हमें जस्ट
डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नेटवर्क,
हाँ तो वो चाहिए. तो अब मैं देख रहा था कि Apollo Hospitals has around about 22,000 or something medicine shops. Apollo branded, okay, franchisee, company owned, company operated, and some are franchisee owned, not company owned, franchisee operated. So they have 2,500 or more than 2,000 network all across India. Their revenue from Apollo branded medicines is 3%. So Apollo as a brand is one of the biggest medicine brands because they have the biggest hospital brand and franchisee in India. That company has been trying to do this for the last 7, 8, 10 years. So they said that today we have 2,000 stores. Half of them are not even operationally break even. Half of them are operationally break even. The sales of Apollo branded medicines, means Apollo ka pain balm, Apollo ka cream, Apollo ka ye wo what's it, is less than 5% today. तो जो अपोलो नहीं कर सका 10 साल में, वो दूसरी कंपनी एक्सपेक्ट करने का नेक्स्ट 3 साल में. So that is the kind of thing which tells you that how there is sector potential, but the biggest company has not been able to tap that. So it's not necessary, and we have to keep getting through that stuff. So we have to keep reading through a lot of material. It could be newspaper articles.
How you can find the company which has the potential to grow?
अभी तक अपने जो सेक्टर वाला चीज है, इसके बाद अपने आएंगे कि we'll discuss about lot of management, we'll discuss a lot on how competition affects, फ्यूचर और फैक्टर करेंगे. उन सारी चीजों में फिर देखेंगे अपने नंबर्स क्या है वो है. तो डज इट वॉरेंट, जैसे मैंने आपको एक ये चीज बताई कि सेक्टर पोटेंशियल इज ग्रेट इन मेडिसिन because the sales is very high, but if the leader has not been able to do that over the last 10 years, will a small company be able to do that over the next 3 or 4 years? The answer is no. So एक ये तरीका है, दूसरा बाकी सारा अपने धीरे-धीरे जैसे ड्रॉप डाउन करेंगे. Currently our discussion was mostly on understanding size, understanding scalability. So it gives you a point wherein you can address ideas. मतलब आपको ideas मिलेंगे कहाँ से, तो वो एक ये reason है. So companies with in industries that tailwind will witness outperformance in fundamentals of the company. These trends, if currently identified, will lead to a tailwind of sorts for the industry, in which companies can ride and with which the numbers of the company can keep continuing for a higher time. You need to identify such trends and themes. So in this way, it can help you in taking decisions so that you can catch companies at a very early stage. Okay. This is mostly about understanding industry size, scalability, and how whether there is a potential for that company to grow or not. So, is there any problem till now in this part? Or you have been able to means and सारी चीजें easily समझ में आ रही है, सारी चीजें सीख रहे हैं. Clear? No. So what is the problem, Sandeep? Okay, great. I thought there is a problem. So now what helps us is when we understood this. So there is a simple person known as Michael Porter who had given Porter five forces to analyze. Okay, which helps to identify whether there is a competitive advantage which the company has or not. So let's understand five Porters. The essence of strategy Porter often says is in choosing what not to do. Okay. So we hear of this adage that customer is always right. Yes, somewhat similar to Buffett's mode, but mode is a very used word, so we'll not use it right now. It's just trying to understand competitive advantage which any company might have or not. Okay. So this is a very beautiful line by which Michael Porter has said is the essence of strategy is in choosing what not to do. Okay. Understanding Michael Porter. This is from his book. So I just quoted him. We hear of this adage that customer is always right. Okay. He says customer is not always right. So sometimes customers are wrong and most of the times customers are wrong. So you have to think of a strategy and you have to mostly say no to a certain set of people. I will not focus on this. Bajaj, Uber Marathi example. Bajaj is only into 150cc and above motorcycles, so high performance motorcycles. So they don't do commuter motorcycles. They don't do very small 100cc motorcycles, Enfield. They don't. जिस सेक्टर में वो प्रेजेंट है, that is only 4% of the market. They don't do anything else, and they are bigger than Hero Honda. Hero Honda is 70 means market cap is, let's say, very different thing. Hero MotoCorp is revenue is 28,000 crores. They are into 100cc motorcycles, which is the biggest portion of the market. The market cap is 51,000 crores. Asian Motor market is 50,000 crores. Annual revenue is 11,000 crores. So they are only present in the market which is a 4%, and Hero MotoCorp is present in the market which is 60% of the market. So both are same market. Not necessary. Hero Enfield, Eicher does just, the Eicher sells 4 lakh bikes every year. Hero MotoCorp साल में महीना में उससे ज़्यादा बेचता है, जितना वो साल में नहीं बेचता. तो कैसा difference है? See the profitability difference of what Eicher has. तो Eicher का तो क्या है कि फिर भी because they consolidate Volvo with them, so that CV business is not that very profitable. So the margins have a difference with Hero MotoCorp, but the profits may difference is very wide. They are just 4%. It's not that they do everything. They don't. They are not into 100cc. They should be. They could be into 100cc as well and 500, 1000. So you could be catering to the whole market, but still not be doing anything. वैसी चीज है. This is Force Motors. Force Motors is present into so many different segments, but before 1 year ago, they were not doing great. Sometimes there is very the essence is in choosing what not to do. ये आपके साथ भी बहुत फेवर करेगा. So you want to be trader or advisor or investor, whatever. Highlighting things that, or sorry, noting things in first that what will you not be doing. जैसे कि X or Y or Z. So जैसे I personally don't go long in derivatives. So whatever happens, A, B, C or D, whatever opportunity is there, don't do derivatives. तो वैसे है, तो किसी और के लिए वो कुछ और हो सकता है. I don't trade in companies which I don't have any idea about. So even if there is a trading opportunity which may present itself, okay, but there is no, but I don't have any idea of the company whatsoever. The opportunity is great per se, but the company I don't have any clue whatsoever. So I would not take advantage of that opportunity, even though it could be a profitable opportunity or not. So essentially, the idea is to not fiddle with companies where there is no knowledge about. So I forgo the gains, but I also forgo the losses which that strategy brings me as well. इसी तरीके से आपके लिए वो बहुत helpful होता है अगर आप ये define कर सकते हो कि what strategies will you not do. There are 5 forces of voters: bargaining power of buyers, bargaining power of suppliers, availability of substitutes, threat of new entrants, and internal rivalry among competitors. All of these 5 voter forces are bargaining power of buyers. हम लोग first दिन discuss कर रहे थे. Powerful buyers will force prices downward, demand more value in a product, thus capturing more of a value for themselves. Bargaining power of suppliers क्या है? तो sorry, what is bargaining power of buyers? If the buyers in a market, everything is a market. Okay, if the buyers in a market have more power than you, so they will demand more value of the product. जैसे कि Eicher Motors में discuss. So you are a buyer of an Enfield motorcycle. There is no other company producing motorcycles that are similar to that in that scenario. So you are always a price taker. You will take at a price at which whatever price the company gives it to you. You will never go and ask them that why are you giving it at this price? You should reduce the prices or whatever. So the customer is not the king here. The company is the king in this segment. Okay. So this is an example of an industry where the bargaining power of buyer is very poor. When the bargaining power of buyer is very poor, the bargaining power of the company is much higher. So you will be able to enjoy very good margins. Now in any industry where the bargaining power of buyers is very high, okay, so it could be in something which does not has a brand in itself, okay, petrol or diesel. If BP and HP are selling at different prices and BP is selling at a lower price, you will obviously go to BP and fill. You will not go to HP. But that is not possible. Why? Because of government regulations. अगर वो free market दिया जाता तो these petrol refineries would have been able to price the products at different prices, and you could be having any opportunity to fill your petrol from any other pump, which is possible, which is not there. Industry-wise B2B में देखोगे तो steel companies, they sell to B2B players, so they don't have any power in this. Reliance क्या? Reliance is a crude refiner, so it sells to a lot of companies. These companies don't have any power over Reliance, so Reliance is a value creator into that segment. Bargaining power of suppliers. So power of suppliers will charge higher prices or insist on more favorable terms, lowering industry profitability. Example, telecom. Even now, when 700 megahertz spectrum is being auctioned, all companies are saying that the prices are too high. But what can you do? Government is the only seller of spectrum. आप स्पेक्ट्रम और कहीं से ले नहीं सकते हो, स्पेक्ट्रम के बिना काम कर नहीं सकते. तो कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है टेलीकॉम कंपनीज के पास. You have to bid at a higher price. You have to take a load on yourself. So either the bank will suffer, जो लोन देगा उसको, या वो कंपनी सफर करेगी. कंपनी सफर करेगी, उसका स्टॉक प्राइस सफर करता है. So that is the eventual outcome. But customers will be keen in this segment. And secondly, here government will extract as much as possible from them. Threat of new entrants. If there is no entry barrier, there will always be a danger to incumbents which are present in the industry. So if there is a huge industry and there is no industry barrier, it is a very risky industry to be. Huge industry, you have scope to grow, but there is no entry barrier. कुछ नहीं, तो कल को कोई भी आ सकता है और आपको खत्म कर सकता है. खत्म करना difficult है. Then you have to see that what is the positioning of the brand. So let's compare FMCG and paints. Both are very big industries. FMCG is miles above paints, but paint itself is a very big industry. Paint में there is a threat of new entrant because tomorrow anyone can start a paint company. Okay, तो उसमें ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि वो नहीं कर सकता. Now you have to see that why, even though anyone can start a paint industry, why even today it has not been possible for any other company to come and dislodge Asian Paints from their peak. So margins at record high. Matlab, this is the best time for any company to enter, because if you see EBITDA margins, they are at their record highest. Distribution network. Yes, so Sandeep is giving us the answer to the question I was asking. So the margins were 8%, which are at 19% historical highs. So still no company is being able to enter. 50,000 crore का market है, 20% EBITDA margin है, कोई नहीं आ पा रहा. So you have to now read history. History always gives you very nice ideas and very proper understanding. So you will be a much more informed investor or trader if you have an understanding of history, market history. So market history in paints industry tells us that without the distribution network which Asian Paints has created, it will take decades for a new company to create that distribution network. मतलब Asian का आज की डेट में जो कि Berger and Asian, Berger is also that kind of type of a company, मतलब उतना ही पुराना है. Asian is very very old, 50-60 years old. They are 3 times of Berger in terms of size of distribution network, machine, tinting machines, etc., etc., whatever. So it will take decades for any company to come today and establish a distribution. Which FMCG में क्या है कि you see the industry there is no barrier. तो आप देखो कि हर region में एक company present है. जैसे बंगाल में there is some other regional leader, यूपी में there is another regional leader, गुजरात में there is another regional leader, महाराष्ट्र में there is another regional leader. So you have lots and pockets of regional companies in FMCG. Go to any state you will find 10 new companies. यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा इधर में जाओगे तो आपको दिखेगा X कंपनी, Y कंपनी, Z कंपनी, हर कोई है बिकॉज रेवेन्यू रन रेट बहुत हाई है. आज की डेट में अगर आपको कोई कंपनी खोल ली और आपको चाहिए कि इमीडिएट सेल्स हो, FMCG company, because there will be immediate sales. You just need to just spend a little on advertisement and there is a ready market. So every state what is there, the market size is huge. So everyone wants to be into FMCG. But because there is no barrier, आपको आज अगर एक चिप्स का कंपनी खोलना है तो आपको कोई गवर्नमेंट अप्रूवल नहीं चाहिए. Just need to get one FSSAI license and then you are ready to go. So every state you see there is a regional player. South में विकास, North में राजस्थान वाले साइड में विकाजी है, इधर कोई गणेश या someone else is there. Maharashtra, Gujarat में Balaji Wafers is there. So every other state you see a regional player happening. And if a national player like Patanjali is doing right now, is targeting national companies. So because there is no barrier, आज अगर ऐसा तो नहीं है, अब Nestle being a 110-year-old company, Colgate being a 70-year-old company, is being targeted by them. Because there is no barrier. तो even though the industry is huge, तो सबको भी होगा ना, जितनी बड़ी कोई इंडस्ट्री होती है उतना lucrative हो जाता है खाने के लिए. इसलिए competitive strength बहुत जरूरी है. Because उसके अलावा आपके पास your company incumbent would have nothing which can stop. जैसे कि PPHP के लिए बहुत बड़ा advantage है गवर्नमेंट, because गवर्नमेंट आर्टिफिशियली डीजल पेट्रोल का प्राइस रेगुलेट करके रखता है, तो और कोई पेट्रोल पंप में आ ही नहीं पाता. SR, Reliance, Shell, no one is being able to operate petrol pumps because till now diesel was and petrol was being sold at a subsidized rate.
Reliance has a refinery. तो वो लोग भी तो पेट्रोल डीजल बनाता है, तो वो लोग मार्केट में बेच नहीं पाता,
तो आप बेच रहे हैं. ऑल पेट्रोल पंप्स जितने हैं उसके सारे खुल गए हैं, सब पे सेल कर रहा है बिकॉज मार्केट रेट है. क्या पता थोड़ा कम पे भी बेच सकता है, उसका कॉस्ट कम होगा अगर भी हाँ आ रहा है, तभी तो उसका रेवेन्यू बढ़ रहा है, तभी उसका प्रॉफिट्स अच्छा आ रहा है. Threat of new entrants, because if there is no significant entry barrier, there will always be a danger of incumbents. So you have to always see. So paints per se seems like an industry where there is a entry, not the entry barrier is the distribution network. So what is the entry barrier? It is a distribution network. Cigarette, there is no threat of any new entrant because government does not allow advertisement of cigarettes. गवर्नमेंट डज नॉट अलाउ एडवर्टीजमेंट ऑफ अल्कोहल. तो अल्कोहल के नाम पे आप सीडी बेच के वो एडवर्टीजमेंट देखते हो, वो एक्चुअली मतलब वो उनका एक तरीका है अपना ब्रांड एडवर्टीजमेंट करने का. बट सिगरेट में तो ऐसा कुछ होता भी नहीं है. तो बेबी फूड में एडवर्टीजमेंट इज नॉट अलाउड बाय गवर्नमेंट. सो सेरेलैक इज अ वेरी बिग स्टैंडिंग इंडस्ट्री, तो उसको कोई नहीं तोड़ सकता जब तक वो चीज नहीं हटती है. सो बेबी फूड यू डोंट अलाउ. सो सेरेलैक इज वन स्टैंडअलोन इंडस्ट्री, देयर इज नो थ्रेट ऑफ इवेंट. In this scenario it works. So and in some scenarios even though there is a threat of new entrant, brand works. Mobile phones में है तो Apple, if you compare Apple and Samsung, both sell at 60,000. But see, what did Porter say? That the essence of strategy is in choosing what not to do. Apple does what it does, Samsung does what it does. Both are doing at the same thing. Both sell phones at 60,000 rupees. Apple does not do anything else from that apart from that. Samsung does everything. So you can see the comparison in between the brand image of the companies. Apple is present in a very small market, and every year there is a rumor that they will sell phone for 10,000, 15,000 small phone. They never do that. Samsung does 5,000 वाला भी, 10,000 वाला भी, 3,000 वाला भी, 20,000 वाला भी, 6,000. तो उनकी कोई brand image नहीं है. And that is why in a downturn they will suffer. If there is competition which will reduce, a Mizu or Xiaomi, Micromax, we will not be able to get Apple because Apple has that image. It does nothing. There are no features. There is no feature advantage. There is no distinct advantage. What feature does it have? If you compare a 60,000 Apple with a compare a 60,000 Samsung, the Samsung has 10 more features than the Apple. But because they don't do anything else apart from that, मतलब funny है क्या है उसमें क्या चीज़ क्या चीज़ it hangs वो Apple hangs Samsung hangs oh it hangs नहीं तो हाँ मतलब वो छोटा वाला फोन हैंग करता होगा S6s Samsung बेस्ट फीचर तो हाँ तो it hangs Apple also hangs if you update very old hardware Apple to a very new software, it will hang. So I am currently facing that problem, so I know. Because if you update an old hardware of an Apple to a new hardware, they come with software update, and if you update the software, then it goes boom. So अब मैं फंस गया. So my Apple also hangs. So that is the case. But apart from that, it is means crappy. There is nothing to do, but they don't do. जैसे jockey, page industry. आप लोग कभी ये notice नहीं किए होंगे. When you go to पैंडलून में सेल लगती है आजकल तो हर जगह सेल लगती है कहीं पर भी आप अभी तक अपना जितना देखा होगा आप बताओ कभी आपने जॉकी का अंडरवेयर पे सेल देखा है नेवर नेवर तो अमेज्ड कि यार जॉकी पे कभी सेल क्यों नहीं होता इट वाज अ फैसिनेटिंग मींस अब तो फिर भी यू हैव अ लॉट ऑफ ब्रांड बट 3-4 इयर्स अगो देयर वाज नो अदर ब्रांड देयर वाज ऑलवेज दैट कि यार सेल लगा 50% तो 10% तो नीचे देगा कम से कम दैट टाइम द फैसिनेशन वाज नेवर देयर अब क्या होगा अब ये क्या होता है व्हेन यू forgo some part of the market. So जो discount वाले लोग हैं ना वो जॉकी कभी नहीं लेते. So what is the strategy for a new player to enter into the market? इधर या आप अपना प्राइस कम करके बेचो तो जॉकी जिस प्राइस पे सेल करता है उससे नीचे अगर कोई सेल करेगा तो वो लॉस में बेचना पड़ेगा उसको. Their products are not priced as high as Calvin Klein or Tommy or Hanes. So they sell at a very low price at which VIP and Lux can also afford to sell. But वो 125 रुपए में जो चीज बेचता है VIP अगर वो 125 में बेचेगा तो बिकेगा नहीं. VIP उसका दाम 250 करके उसको 125 में बेचेगा तो भी वो कभी नहीं बिकेगा. उसके नीचे अगर बेचेगा तो लॉस में बेचेगा. तो कैसे तोड़ेगा आप उसको? How do you stop that? If Jockey was selling at 200 and discounting 20%, then it was different. You will start at 180 and discount by 30%. तो आपको तोड़ मिल गया मार्केट तोड़ने का. लेकिन अगर आप कॉस्ट पे बेच रहे हो मतलब एकदम कॉस्ट से थोड़ा सा ऊपर बेच रहे हो और कभी डिस्काउंट नहीं दे रहे हो तो आप तोड़ोगे कैसे मार्केट को? बिकॉज एनी अदर न्यू प्लेयर Hanes will not have to do this. Calvin Klein guys have to do 70% डिस्काउंट तो Calvin Klein 70 देगा तो Tommy 80 दे देगा. तो आप X दोगे तो मैं X plus Y दूंगा. आप नीचे मेरे बेच नहीं सकते क्योंकि मेरा कॉस्ट है तो मेरा ब्रांड तोड़ोगे कैसे? इट इज इम्पॉसिबल टू ब्रेक दैट ब्रांड बिकॉज दे डिड नॉट गो towards that measure. I was always amazed कि यार ये डिस्काउंट नहीं देता. अब जब समझ में आया जब पोर्टर पढ़ा तब मेरे को पता चला ये इसलिए डिस्काउंट देता है तो इसलिए पहले पढ़ा था कि I should choose and what not to do. And it is very helpful choosing what not to do, not just in case of companies investment, in terms of strategizing, in terms of creating strategies for yourself is the most beneficial thing to do.
तो जाके ब्रांडिंग मतलब एडवर्टाइजमेंट में लगा के बड़ा आदमी
एडवर्टाइजमेंट में कोई नहीं लेता तो आप करोगे कैसे? तो डॉलर अक्षय कुमार को ले आएगा तो डिक्सी सलमान खान को ले आएगा. बट यहाँ तो यहाँ आप कैसे लेके आओगे? देखो व्यूज नहीं होता उतना ही पैसा लगाता है वो उतना ही पैसा लगाता है. वहाँ क्या है कि ये नॉर्मल ब्रांडिंग पे इतना ही पैसा देता है जितना वो देता है. वो क्या करता है वो पैसा एम्बेसडर पे यूज करता है ये पैसा अपने ब्रांड पे यूज करता है. तो जॉकी ब्रांड इज द प्ले एंड देयर अक्षय कुमार इज द प्ले. तो इफ अक्षय कुमार टुडे इज डूइंग गुड tomorrow if Salman Khan is a bigger star so another company might come in and pay them more and commit but यहाँ आप तोड़ोगे कैसे? यहाँ तो वो अपना ब्रांड के ऊपर प्ले करके दिया. You have to then again sit for 20 years and just advertise behind your brand. तो 20 साल तक ये कंपनी पूरा खा जाएगा उसको. तो जितना वो पूरा मार्केट खा रहा है तो वो अभी भी वही चीज कर रहा है. So this is why it is very difficult and choosing what not to do is the thing in there. You are Apple does not do. वो बेचता नहीं आज की डेट में भी. they generate huge amounts of cash every year and they have a strategy. कुछ नहीं देता कोई फीचर नहीं है फोन में कुछ भी नहीं है फिर भी हायर प्राइस पे बेचता है. So how is it possible to do it sustainably? You have to say no to a lot of things and use this means everywhere. आप आगे जाके ट्रेडिंग करते हो जो भी इन्वेस्टिंग whatever. Which one do you want me to explain again? Jockey part. Jockey part. What I was trying to tell you about that their strategy behind their product is one, they don't use any brand ambassadors. So there are a lot of things which they don't do, which we are talking about. The essence of Porters is that you have to choose a lot of things to not do. One thing which they don't do is they don't discount their products. They don't choose any brand ambassadors behind their products, and they don't mark up their products and then give a discount. So the only ways to dislodge Jockey as a brand is to create a new brand, and to create a new brand is not very easy. You will have to spend 10-15 years behind doing that, which they have already done. So the sales growth might come off, but the brand will never be dislodged because they have done something which they don't need to. So you can identify companies which are doing these kind of things. Apple is one example that they don't sell, they sell just one part of the product. जो उसके नीचे नहीं ले सकते हैं. अब मेरे को lucrative है, मैं अभी 1% को cater कर रहा हूँ. बाकी 99% को cater करूँगा तो I have a bigger size. But I don't want to go to them. I want them to come to me. I will sell at 60,000. जब आपकी इनकम बढ़ेगी तो सबसे पहली चीज आप एप्पल ही बोलेंगे. मेरे को आपके पास नहीं जाना, आप मेरे पास आओगे. So this is one way in which they try to do. So there, how would you try to dislodge this strategy? There is no way to do it. Now अब Samsung अब अगर जाएगा, अब सिर्फ सारे फोन बंद करके 60,000 के फोन बेचेगा, कुछ नहीं होगा बिकॉज उसने ऑलरेडी अपनी ब्रांड इमेज डाइल्यूट कर दी है. तो वो कुछ नहीं कर सकता. और अगर कोई कंपटीशन आएगा तो सबसे पहले वो सैमसंग को हिट कर रहा है, वो एप्पल को हिट नहीं कर पाएगा. जीरो नहीं, माइक्रोमैक्स है, उसका 60,000 का फोन नहीं बिकेगा. Internal rivalry among competitors. If the internal competitors are very, सबके पास बहुत पैसा है, तो वो क्या करेंगे कि वो एक दूसरे को लड़ लड़ के करने देंगे. जैसे ई कॉमर्स में है. ई कॉमर्स में what I feel is that in India I think only 1 or 2 companies will survive, which is the norm anywhere. Because if all competitors have huge amounts of money, Snapdeal has huge amounts of money, Shopify, Flipkart has huge amounts of money, Paytm is Alibaba, Amazon है ही. And if the product is standardized across, जैसे कि today if you want to buy X, you will compare the prices amongst all 4. There is no affinity that I need to buy it only from Amazon. I just need genuine product which all 4 companies can provide me, and I need a lower price. So lower price ही अगर आपका buying point है, so you cannot have a lot of people surviving in the market. There will be eventual consolidation wherein only 1 or 2 will be left. Even 2 will not be left. There will be only 1 player. Because 2 भी जन होंगे तो आप बोलो दोनों में से किसके पास जाओगे? हमेशा उसी के पास जो लोअर प्राइस देगा. ये कोई ब्रांड एफिनिटी नहीं है. ब्रांड एफिनिटी में क्या होता है कि आपको अगर वो फिर भी कम प्राइस पे, मतलब अगर सिमिलर चीज अवेलेबल है, वेरी वेरी बिग एग्जांपल इज फेरो रोशर चॉकलेट्स, इटालियन कंपनी है. सो दे सेल व्हाट दे सेल, उस टाइप की कोई चॉकलेट बना दे तो भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा बिकॉज दे हैव दैट मार्केट इनटू. सो देयर आर एग्जांपल्स ऑफ अ लॉट ऑफ कंपनीज. अगर जिसके पास सबसे सस्ता प्राइस मिलेगा, लेकिन अगर स्केल वो भी होना चाहिए. जैसे कि इंडिगो का सबसे बड़ा वो एडवांटेज है कि इंडिगो के पास जो कैपेसिटी है वो और किसी के पास नहीं है. So the thing is that if there is a growth in the sector, there is no one else left to play because आप जाके देखोगे कोई भी एयरपोर्ट में जो लिस्ट रहती है वेटिंग प्लेन्स की, उसमें से 15-16 अगर कॉलम्स है तो उसमें से 12-13 इंडिगो के रहते हैं. बाकी के पास कैपेसिटी नहीं है. हेलो, so pricing is when pricing is your main criteria. Okay, then brand does not comes into play. Then it is easy to dislodge you. When pricing is not your sole criteria, then it is difficult to dislodge you. The main idea है कि भाई अगर pricing sole criteria है कोई भी सेक्टर में अगर बेचने का, तो वहाँ आपको पता है. जैसे कि ये जो मैंने आपको EPC इंडस्ट्रीज का बताया, for a farmer brand affluence is not. I why I told you that the deviation is very low. One because of the government tailwind. Secondly क्या है कि वो B2B फार्मर के लिए ब्रांड एफिनिटी बहुत हैवी नहीं है. उसको कल अगर कोई चाइनीज कंपटीटर आके बेच देगा तो वो बहुत इजीली ले लेगा. उसको खाली प्राइस से मतलब है, वो प्रोडक्ट से मतलब है. प्रोडक्ट कोई भी लोअर प्राइस में मिलेगा तो वो वहां पे कर लेगा. तो वहां पे क्वालिटी इतना बड़ा रोल प्ले नहीं करती. फॉर यू और मी और एनी अदर पर्सन दैट क्वालिटी माइट प्ले अ वेरी बिग रोल, बट योर कस्टमर हैज नो ब्रांड एफ्लुएंस. So that is a very small duration play. That is not a very 10 year, 15 year, 20 year horizon play. India GDP at 7.6% beating forecasts. So assessing buyer power. Now you need to see that how can you assess these things. I mean, how do I assess a buying power? जैसे buyer power क्या होता है? Bargaining power of buyers क्या होता है? Powerful buyers will force prices down and demand more value in a product, thus capturing more value for themselves. So how do I assess this buying power? Buyers power can be negated if the buyers are divided into large number of small units and serviced by large producers. It means अगर जो buyers हैं वो बहुत numbers में divided है. Okay, so what happens is that when the buyers are divided into a large number, then the bargaining power of buyers gets diluted. Because if I am selling something to a large number of people, okay, one or two people if they have a problem, or 1 or 5% of the people if they have problem with that product, that will be that is having low value. Because banking में आपको बता दूँ, banking में HDFC Bank is the worst bank in terms of cost, everything, the kind of way they manage costs and हर तरीके से. किसी को भी सुनोगे उसको देखोगे वो बोलेगा कि सबसे ज्यादा पैसा निकाल ये लोग ही खाता नहीं, cost everything, but still because it is divided among so many number of people, the opinion of a very few holds no difference. So if you go by customer feedback, they are amongst one of the worst because of the costs involved, because of the way they charge fees and everything else. But because the because the buyers are so very high and they are divided into so many number of people over a very large geographic chain, the voice of a few people don't hold that a very big relevance. Following points can also help differentiated products inexpensive related to total cost, consequential to their own performance. Inexpensive related to total cost. So if you are actually setting up something, जैसे कि अगर home furnishing, if you are refurbishing your home, you generally change everything. So you also change the switches. Okay. So switches is a very small part of your total refurbishment cost. So you don't generally go behind the lowest cost alternative because you say that yes, I'm putting up पूरा का पूरा घर में चेंज कर रहा हूँ तो एक छोटी सी चीज के लिए मेरे को सोचना नहीं चाहिए. तो 2% की चीज आप हायर क्वालिटी वाली भी लेके देखते हो. So if it is something which is very inexpensive related to your total cost, you will not think a lot. तो buyer power वहाँ पे भी खत्म हो जाता है. Differentiated products अगर differentiated है, मतलब कंपनी A, कंपनी B जैसे अलग अलग दे रही है, जैसे टूथपेस्ट में what they are trying to do now, because when they are facing competition, what they try to do, जैसे कि I read about Colgate, Close-Up, how they try to change. Colgate was the market leader and always is the market leader. Close-Up came first with a paste and they failed miserably. So जो gel है ना, gel वाला concept पहले Close-Up लेकर आया. तो this HUL product. So this was brought by और जो Close-Up थोड़ा बहुत HUL का थोड़ा बहुत share है toothpaste में, that is only because of that gel. So Colgate also came up with a gel, Max Fresh, whatever, but they have not been able to catch up that much because people associate gel with Close-Up. People associate toothpaste with Colgate. So differentiation लाना पड़ा. HUL had no share of the toothpaste market. They had to bring out a differentiation. P&G जैसे, Sensodyne. So you were not able to take advantage of the market. You brought out a different product that it is sensitive to teeth. So Colgate also has that product, but is not able to sell that much because Sensodyne is associated with toothpaste for sensitive teeth people. तो वो उस तरीके से, तो यहाँ आपने क्या किया, कंपनी को एक दूसरा प्रोडक्ट डिफरेंशिएट करके लेकर आना पड़ा, जिस वजह से वो मार्केट ले पाए. So these are few ways in which you can assess buying power assessing power of buyers, assessing power of suppliers. So if there are large and concentrated in relation to a fragmented industry and there are no alternative suppliers, so assessing power of suppliers वही है कि अगर supplier एक ही है तो क्या करोगे, कुछ ऑप्शन नहीं है मेरे को, तो उसी से लेना पड़ेगा, मेरे पास और कोई उपाय नहीं है. कार्स के लिए कुछ नहीं है, जैसे कार्स के लिए मींस इफ आई टुडे वांट टू बाय कार्स आई हैव अ लॉट ऑफ फैसिलिटीज एंड मींस. हाँ, रेलवे में एक ही है तो वो रेलवे प्राइस बढ़ाएगा, बट गवर्नमेंट है रेगुलेटेड. एविएशन में देख सकते हो, एविएशन में प्राइवेट भी है. हाँ, एविएशन में 3-4 ही है. अगर वो लोग कार्टेल करके अगर प्राइसेस बढ़ा देते हैं तो यू हैव नो ऑप्शन बट यू हैव टू पे. जैसे जेट फ्यूल में है, तो एविएशन जेट फ्यूल में अगर बीपीसीएल एचपीसीएल प्राइस नहीं घटाएगा तो कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है, एविएशन कंपनीज के पास और कोई उपाय नहीं है, उनको उसी से लेना पड़ेगा. बट दे डिक्रीज द प्राइस. जस्ट ट्राइंग टू से दैट इन हाइपोथेटिकल सिनेरियोस व्हाट माइट हैपन, कभी आर्टिफिशियली सप्लाई रोक दी से अपने लिए है. The supplier of fuel is government, so government has provided an excise duty on that, so you have no other option, you have to buy at that price because there are no other suppliers who will give at a lower cost. Switching cost बहुत ज्यादा है, आप एक से दूसरे में जाते हो तो बहुत कॉस्ट लगता है. जैसे पहले टेलीकॉम में क्या था, ये पोर्टल्स पूरा का पूरा स्टडी टेलीकॉम पे था. पहले क्या था कि कोई कस्टम मतलब देयर आर नॉट अ लार्ज नंबर ऑफ कंपनी there were very heavy switching costs. It was difficult to imagine from going from an Airtel to a Vodafone. आज के डेट में तो आप हर महीने दूसरा कंपनी चेंज कर सकते हो. You can change as many time as you want to. So there were very low switching cost right now. So in any industry there is very low switching cost. Similar case with this farm equipment companies. Switching costs are very low. You have a lot of companies available at different price points. Okay, so that is why it is not a very durable industry. जिस एरिया में ये सब फोकस है, पेंट्स में देखो, पेंट्स में there are not a lot of companies, there are just couple or 3 or 4 companies. Switching costs, मतलब once you have done, you will not switch off to a different company whatsoever. कि try करके देखो, because the cost is huge. You incur 60-70,000 to paint your home, so you will not say that let's try a different quality once you feel safe with one. Differentiation ज़्यादा नहीं है, it is just color, so you can just differentiate on thing on which you are focusing. So Asian focuses a lot on home furnishing. Berger is focusing a lot on express painting. So that is how you are trying to differentiate. Express painting is you do it in 3-4 days. And it is done very fast. You don't have hassles. So जिनको fast करवाना है वो एक different product create करके देगा. Asian is focusing on home furnishing a lot. As I say that you are creating a new environment in your house. Forward backward integration. If the suppliers have forward or backward integration, then it helps them a lot. Because अगर मैं एक स्टील कंपनी हूँ तो मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ा बैकवर्ड इंटीग्रेशन है आयरन और माइंस खरीदना. अगर मैं एक आयरन और कंपनी हूँ तो मेरे लिए सबसे बड़ा फॉरवर्ड इंटीग्रेशन है स्टील कंपनी खोल लेना. बिकॉज एक्सक्यूज मी डायरेक्ट लिंक्ड है. इस तरीके से काफी सारी कंपनीज होती है जो कि वो सेम काम करती है. जैसे कि कोई अगर सिर्फ एक रॉ मटेरियल प्रोवाइड कर रहा है एंड दैट कंपनी सेइंग दैट आई वांट टू फॉरवर्ड इंटीग्रेट, सो आई वांट टू टेक अ बिगर पार्ट ऑफ द वैल्यू चेन. जिस एफएमसीजी कंपनीज में क्या होता है, जनरली मोस्टली सारी कंपनीज क्या ब्रांड है. एचयूएल एक ब्रांड है. एचयूएल की अपना खुद से मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बहुत कम रहेगा. तो मोस्टली व्हाट दीस कंपनीज डू दैट दे आउटसोर्स देयर वर्क टू अ लॉट ऑफ स्मॉलर कंपनीज. ओके, दीस स्मॉलर कंपनीज आर डूइंग जॉब वर्क फॉर देम कि मैं बता देता हूँ कि मेरे को ये मटेरियल चाहिए, ये इतना इसके चाहिए. तो आई एम जस्ट मैं बोला ना कि मेरे फ्रेंड एक कंपनी में वर्क करते हैं. वो कंपनी करती है चाइना से डायरेक्ट इंपोर्ट करती है चिमनीज, रूफटॉप्स एंड उसको यहाँ पे खाली अपना नाम से ब्रांड करके बेचती है. सो दे आर फॉरवर्ड इंटीग्रेटिंग इनटू दैट. नाउ बैकवर्ड इंटीग्रेशन फॉर देम वुड बी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग द सेम मटेरियल हियर. अनदर बैकवर्ड इंटीग्रेशन वुड बी गेटिंग इनटू स्टील एंड ऑल, दूसरी चीज की कंपनी खोलना जो फॉयल वगैरह या स्टील शीट्स पे काम करती है. सो दैट इज वन वे ऑफ डूइंग दैट. Assessing threat of substitutes, looking at the economics specifically to whether the substitute offers an attractive price performance trade-off relative to the industry product. The sweet spot isn't always the lower price alternative. Substitute का threat देखना पड़ेगा. सबसे बड़ा मोबाइल फोन में दिखता है आपको एप्पल के फोन का सब्स्टिट्यूट हर एक फोन है, but which is why this line is very relevant. The sweet spot isn't always the lower price alternative, so it is not generally always the lower price alternative. So even though I want to shift myself to a lower priced phone today, I am finding it very difficult to do it because I just don't want to let go of the tag of that brand. So there are many other ways in which it is not generally. Jockey में same thing है. The substitute is what you can go for a Haynes, VIP, Rupa, Lux, Dixie, Pixie, जो भी कर लो. लेकिन generally people don't go for the lowest price alternative. So it is not necessary that अगर कोई कंपनी X price पे दे रही है और दूसरी कंपनी उसे माइनस कम प्राइस पे सेम प्रोडक्ट या बेटर क्वालिटी दे रही है तो जरूरी नहीं है कि आप हमेशा उसकी तरफ जाओगे. बट अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ सब्स्टिट्यूट्स मेक्स अ चेंज. थोड़ा सा इंडस्ट्री को अफेक्ट करता है. असेसिंग द थ्रेट ऑफ न्यू एंट्रेंट्स सबसे ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट यही है. जैसे कि अगर कोई इंडस्ट्री बहुत बड़ी है तो हमेशा ये रिस्क रहेगा यार कोई ना कोई तो आते रहेगा. टेलीकॉम इज अ ह्यूज इंडस्ट्री, रिलायंस दैट इज व्हाई इज वेंचरिंग इनटू इट. तो वो रीजन है. एफएमसीजी इज अ ह्यूज इंडस्ट्री, सो यू हैव रीजनल कंपटीशन, यू हैव नेशनल कंपटीशन. तो मतलब कोई है ही नहीं. जैसे लोग बोलते हैं कि एफएमसीजी इज अ वेरी इजी इंडस्ट्री, इट इज अ वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट इंडस्ट्री बिकॉज ऑफ द फैक्ट दैट आज की डेट में भी मार्केट लीडर्स कम से कम 15 to 20% ऑफ द रेवेन्यूज दे स्पेंड ऑन एडवर्टाइजमेंट जस्ट टू मेंटेन दैट मार्केट शेयर. सो इट इज अ वेरी डिफिकल्ट इंडस्ट्री. ऐसा नहीं है कि दे डोंट ग्रो, दे आर ग्रोइंग एवरी ईयर, बट द पॉइंट इज दैट टू जस्ट टू ग्रो एट दैट पेस इट रिक्वायर्स देम अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स टू डू. सो how do you assess the threat of new entrants? Do producing larger volumes translate into lower unit cost? तो मतलब अगर आप ज्यादा बनाओगे तो क्या लोअर आपका कॉस्ट कम पड़ेगा कि नहीं पड़ेगा? मींस इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल आपको इफेक्ट करेगी नहीं करेगी? विल कस्टमर्स इनकर एनी स्विचिंग कॉस्ट? So there is no switching cost today to shift from Airtel to Reliance Jio. So if they are giving me 4G at 50 rupees per month, I will shift to Reliance Jio tomorrow. Does value to a company increase as more customers start using their company's product? तो अगर आप क्या करते हो देखते हो ज्यादा लोग अगर कोई प्रोडक्ट यूज करे, जैसे एनफील्ड में क्या, तो if you see other people using, you get affiliated more कि भाई मेरे को भी ये चीज चाहिए. आप कम दिखेगी मार्केट में तो आप कम उसके बारे में सोचोगे, आपको ज्यादा दिखेगा मार्केट में तो you will think more about it. How large is the capex intensity of the industry? Means how much capex do you need to do? So if a huge capex is required, only a few people can enter. If a very minimal capex, FMCG में कोई capex नहीं चाहिए. आप जॉब वर्क पे काम संभाल दो, ब्रांड अपना यूज करो, आप आराम से एंटर कर सकते हो. गवर्नमेंट की कोई पॉलिसी है, सिगरेट में है, अल्कोहल में है. Is there any intangible or tangible advantage which the company has? So if there is an intangible or tangible advantage, the company there will be lesser threat of a new entrant. पेटेंट हुआ, जैसे मेडिसिन में अगर कोई कंपनी के पास किसी मेडिसिन का पेटेंट है तो इट इज डिफिकल्ट फॉर अदर कंपनी टू कम एंड ब्रिंग इन दैट सेम मेडिसिन. सो टिल दैट पेटेंट इज देयर बट द टाइमिंग इज देयर, इतना साल के लिए होगा. Assessing internal rivalry, if there is a fragmented industry with a large number of sellers, if there are low switching costs, जैसे एयरलाइन सीट्स एंड होटल इन्वेंटरी. होटल क्या है कि 365 दिन आप रन कर सकते हो एक साल में. आपके पास अगर 1000 सीट है तो यू जस्ट हैव 365 days to do that. So even if one day your hotel is vacant, that room is perishable, मतलब आज का दिन गया, तो आपको हमेशा हमेशा कुछ ना कुछ स्कीम रन करनी पड़ेगी जिससे कि आप अपने होटल के इन्वेंटरी को फिनिश कर सको. Same with airline. Once an airline takes off, if any seat is how integration affects the supplies. Can you ask in a different manner? Means how integration means I cannot get the context of how integration is affected. So till that time, airline seats, once an airline takes off, the inventory is of zero value. So you have to do whatever possible to fill out that inventory. So that is why there is massive competition between airline companies. So they are continuously reducing their prices if they are seeing that a route is going vacant. So this is how you assess internal rivalry. So these are 5 points which you need to think about. ये पोर्टर के 5 forces है. The moot cause of taking out from this is that ये वाला first part कि there is a huge strategy sometimes in telling what you not ought to do. It's not necessary for every time for you to take the whole market. It's not necessary for you to every time do everything. Backward and forward integration affects the power of supply. So what happens is that, see, if currently you are into milk products, okay, like you might be taking raw materials from Amul or some other company, and you are into production of cheese, yogurt, and other milk products. So if you backward integrate into, right now you are solely at the help of Amul or whatever supplier you are taking that milk from. So if the prices, if they increase the prices, you have to take that burden on yourself. Now if you backward integrate and you create a whole dairy farm of yourself, so you will have lower cost produce available, just ITC के लिए. So you have backward integrated into raw material supplies with farmers. So you are not affected by farm produce price increases because you are directly linked with farmers. So that helps. So the supplier power reduces. ITC does not need to go to every other person and the prices increase. They have their own homely supply. So their backward integration helps, and vice versa for a company which is into backward integration right now. So what happens is that generally the raw material prices normally don't increase that much, but the finished product prices can be increased as per wish if you have created a brand. So that helps you, means the adage that buying, manufacturing a commodity and selling a brand. So there is how a brand helps you. So Jockey can increase prices every year and you will still buy it. But not all companies can do it. So there the power of brand helps. And most of the essence lies in understanding what not to do. Just hello. we'll just finish the class today. Okay, bye.